Good evening. It is 5:30 and time to begin our board meeting. I call the meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Rhonda. Here.
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 Present.
Thank you. We will have the invocation and flag salute by Pikeview Elementary. Early Childhood Center. Let me say the whole thing. Pikeview Early Childhood Center.
Right. Just take it out.
Hey, you get to sit on this cool chair and listen to the mic. Okay. Yeah, sit with me. You can sit right there. Okay. They're best friends. Me too.
Love it.
Dear God,
Keep going.
thank you for your people and thank you for the love. Thank you for everybody. And Jesus' name.
Great job.
Amen.
Great job.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are the proud parents of these littles here? If you would you stand up? We're proud that you're here. Awesome. Thank you. For our vision and mission and moral purpose, I'm going to yield to my right tonight.
Our mission statement is our community, our schools, where your future begins.
Our mission statement. The North Rock School District will prepare all students for their future by offering a well-rounded, rigorous, relevant, and innovative education that allows each child to achieve their full potential in a safe, supportive learning environment to be future ready.
Moral purpose. As a community, our moral purpose is that all children will achieve, have a high-quality teacher, have a high-quality leader, and a supportive learning environment. We will not allow an achievement gap in the North Little Rock School District.
Thank you. We are down to recognition of people, events, and programs.
Madam President, members of our board, I would like to welcome Ms. Sims, who's the coordinator and principal of Pikeview Early Childhood Center. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ms. Sims, to introduce our guests, our very special guests.
All right. Members of the board, Dr. Paluski, thank you for having us today. Today we have pre-K 4 and pre-K 3 classrooms. We have Ms. Megan Wilson and co-teacher Ms. Megan Johnson, Ms. Danielle Homan, curriculum specialist Ms. LaShare Rockins, and she is accompanied by her co-teacher Ms. Kashina Aaron. We have Lacey Sullivan here with Miss Sierra. We have Miss Kim Pettis and Miss Latoya and Susan Urena and Ms. Jarlin Niblet. And we are here to present on our community garden and all the learning that takes place around it. So I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Danielle Holman because she's going to start us off.
Good evening, everyone. So I'd like to start this presentation off with a little introduction. In 2015, Pikeview Elementary turned into Pikeview Early Childhood Center, and that is the time that we also started a garden at the school. We've got a lot of things going on at our school. There was a garden started. We have chickens with the children interacting and using that as an extension of the classroom. And it became apparent that there needed to be a place for the students to also be able to sit and continue the classroom in the garden area. So a pavilion was built in the garden area. It is covered so that the students can go out there and continue a lesson, or they can have snacks and interact with what they've learned in the garden area. Like I said, we have chickens. They interact with the chickens, and the students are very active in the garden. And so tonight, the teachers are going to expand on what kind of learning takes place with our garden at school. So I'm going to pass this on to Miss Susan.
Good evening, everyone. I am here with Jordan Kimball, and we're going to kind of just talk about some of the different standards we teach to using our garden. Jordan and I are going to talk about the science standards and kind of some cognitive development, including problem solving, discussion skills, and oral language. So we kind of do a lot of problem solving, figuring out what bed we're going to plant in, what we're going to plant, what tools we're going to use. So Jordan, can you tell them a little bit about what we've been doing in our garden?
What about garden beds?
Yeah, what did we plant?
Potatoes.
Tell them what we did first, how we planted some seeds and it didn't grow. Do you remember doing that?
Yes.
What do our plants need to grow?
Water and sun.
Water and sun. And what do we use to get our seeds and potatoes planted? What kind of tools?
Garden tools.
Yeah. So we kind of started by planting seeds, and we had to do a little problem solving because after many weeks we weren't seeing any sprouts. So we used just potatoes that were kind of old and not good for cooking. We kind of did the cutting. They had the little sprouts coming out, and we decided to plant those and kind of do a little experimenting with them. So now we wait and see what happens with that. So we've been learning a lot in the garden.
Hi, I'm Megan Wilson, and this is
Naya.
And Naya is a pre-K3 student who just turned 4. And we just want to talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing in our classroom. So, Naya, do you want to kind of tell them, can you see up there? Do you want to tell them what we've been doing?
Yes.
What did we do first?
We've been doing planting plants.
Okay. Yes. But before we planted plants, we read a lot of books, right? Yes. And we wanted to know what our friends know about growing things. Yes. And what did we do first? We had that big orange thing. What was that big orange thing we worked with first? What was it called? A what?
Pumpkin.
A pumpkin, yes. So we carved a pumpkin and we ate the seeds. Yes?
Yes.
And what did I bake that we ate?
A pumpkin pie.
A pumpkin pie. And so we did talk about who would like to participate with cleaning out our garden bed. We talked about what is something you would like to grow in our garden bed. And with pre-K3, sometimes they have background knowledge about what can actually grow. Sometimes they say things like candy, chips. So we have to kind of start with a lot of books to kind of help build that foundation. Next slide. And then Naya, so right now, what are we doing with that pumpkin down there in that picture? Do you remember? What are we doing with that pumpkin?
It's squished.
It's squished, yes, because it's what? What's it doing?
It's dirty.
It's dirty, and it's old and decaying, right? And we're watching it. So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Good evening. I'm LaShare Rockins, and I have pre-K 3 students this year, and we're going to talk about math. So bringing math to the garden, from day one, we start by counting. And I have my friends Nazir, Birdie, and Malachi. Malachi, can you come down here so we can be close? Thank you. Okay, so every day during morning meeting, we start out with a song, and then we count what? What do we count?
What?
We start with 1. We always start with 1, but what do we count? Who do we count? We count our what? Friends. Yes, we count our friends. And how many friends do we have? Yeah. We do have lots, but we have 20 friends, right? We have 20 friends, and we count to make sure that we have all 20 friends there each morning. So before we could even start out in the garden, bringing math into the garden, I know you're wondering how is math in the garden. Counting is important, and we start, like he said, with the number 1, and we practice counting every day, and we start pre-K 3 using math talk, using those words so that they will be familiar with them, laying that foundation. Saying numbers, words in their proper order, matching one word with one thing, one-to-one correspondence, and again, using the math talk. Next slide. So bringing the math, we do math indoors and bringing the math outdoors. So on the slide, the first slide, you can see there's a child there counting spiders. And there's a number on each plate, on each web, and they had to count those spiders, put that amount of spiders on the plate. Then on the next picture, there's a child there with apple trees, and you can see the number 1 and the number 4, so they're putting 1 thing on the 1 apple tree and 4 on the next one. So then when we get outside to the garden, the way that we brought math to the garden is that once we decided what we were going to grow, which we decided to grow broccoli and corn, we counted the seeds. We counted the number of holes that we dug, and we counted the number of seeds. And that's what's going on in the 3rd picture and the 4th picture right there. So math is everywhere. It's indoors and it's outdoors. Thank you.
Hello, I am Miss Kim, and I have a group of 4-year-olds. I have PK4 this year. And in our class, we have, back in October, we started, actually outside of our classroom, we had a pumpkin growing outside of our class that we had from the year before. And so we started doing a study and learning about the life cycle of a pumpkin. So my friends here are going to tell you the life cycle of a pumpkin and what it takes for a pumpkin to grow. And then, as you guys will see in the next slide, they also did what is called a still life drawing of a pumpkin or a gourd, where they use a magnifying glass and they look at it closely and they see the different aspects of gourds and pumpkins, and on the what's on the outside, the lines, if it has bumps and things like that. So I'm going to let them share with you. And this is Kinsley Johnson. We have Lazar McBride. We have Major Jenkins, and we have Maddox Bell with us today. So, Kinsley, can you tell them what we need first in order to grow a pumpkin?
First, need a seed. A pumpkin seed.
We need a pumpkin seed. And in order, guys, for that pumpkin seed to start growing, the pumpkin needs a few things to grow. What does it need?
Soil, water, sunlight, air.
All right. Okay. And then after it receives all of those things, Lazar, what is going to happen next?
A sprout will grow.
a sprout will grow. And Major, tell them what happens after the sprout grows.
A pumpkin vine.
A pumpkin vine. And Maddox, what will happen next?
A flower.
What kind of flower?
Orange and yellow flower.
Orange and yellow. Okay. And after that orange and yellow flower grows,
It's a
what's
green
gonna grow?
pumpkin.
What?
A green pumpkin.
A green pumpkin. And then Kinsley, tell them what happens next.
A big, big orange pumpkin.
And that is the what?
Life cycle of a pumpkin.
And that is the life cycle of a pumpkin. So as you can see, we have science in preschool. We do a little bit of art in preschool, math, you name it. That's what we do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lacey Sullivan, and I have
Whitley.
and I think most of the teachers hit on the standards and what all we're doing as far as growing in the garden and how it's integrated in the classroom. Our class spends a lot of time outside in the classroom, outside in the garden, so the garden is kind of our classroom. With our literacy, we tie it in. Right now, they did the Three Little Pigs story, and there was a lot of problem solving, working together, wonder, curiosity, and just the setting, like teaching those story elements through being actively involved in them. I've noticed that the garden is a place where everybody is working together. They're problem solving. They're encouraging one another. They're learning. We're not telling them how to build things or what to do. They have to figure it out on their own. And that's been really cool is when we're in the garden, I feel like it really is a magical garden at Pikeview with our class.
Great job.
For his Hispanic Heritage Month, we had read A Pot That Juan Built. And the kids, they were fascinated by it. And in the garden, they were digging one day. And I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, well, we're making clay. And I was like, what do you mean you're making clay? And they were like Juan. And so they studied the process. In the book, Juan tries to wet harvest the clay. We tried and tried and tried and tried. So then we had to do some research, and it was really cool learning alongside with the children that we decided that we had to dry harvest, and Whitley has something that she would like to share with you.
I have a clay with a flower in it.
Okay. The soil was harvested from our school garden, and they had to strain and get the rock chunks out. They had to grind the pieces, and then they had to slowly make water, find a consistency that worked. Jack and the Beanstalk, they wanted to grow magic beans, so we grew beans, and we just took handfuls and threw them, and we don't know what kind. We still had no beans pop up, or we had our sprouts, and before doing it, they got to explore, how are we going to build a garden bed? And so if you see them walking alongside, that's them learning, they're working together, they're doing their shapes, they're figuring out the size, the measurements, tied it into our writing, our math, and so the garden is just kind of our second classroom home.
Awesome. Thank you. Great job.
We're getting ready to wrap it up, but before we do, I wanted to touch a little bit on the cooking experiences that they do have with the garden. The children use the eggs from the chickens to cook. They use them in multiple ways. Sometimes they decide if they're going to cook them, if they're going to take them home, or are they going to donate them to families. So that's one thing they do with the vegetables and the fruit. When they gather them, they harvest them, they sort them. They sort them by color, by size, by type, by textures, and they have a full body experience with them where they're looking at them, they're smelling them, they're tasting it, they're feeling it. So there is a lot of cooking experiences that they do also with the garden. And this year we had the privilege of being part of the Chef's Challenge, and our students got to work with Chef Amy, and a lot of the stuff that she covered was things that our students are already very familiar. And one thing that she did mention was how well our students did during these activities. And I fully and totally believe that it's because they are very familiar with it and they know how to handle the tools that go with cooking. So, okay, this is the end of our presentation. If you guys, I'm so sorry, it went a little bit long. If you guys have any questions, we are here to answer.
Good job. Good job. What do y'all, when you say you all take the food and harvested and then able to disperse it among? Do y'all have like maybe a school pantry that you all utilize and that people can utilize that, or how does that work?
Most of the time, it doesn't produce as much to be able to do it through the pantry. So what they end up doing is each classroom in their bed, they decide what they're going to do with it. If they want to cook it, or if they want to give it to someone, a family in their classroom.
Okay. Good job, kids.
Good job.
Thank you. Good job. Are there any special recognitions or superintendent's honor roll?
We do not have any for this month, Madam President.
All right. Moving right along. Ow.
If I can get one of them to come stand by Dr. Chief.
You want to come over here and stand on the platform, and then y'all sit back there.
Okay, that'd be good. Perfect.
Back up just a little bit. There we go.
Thank you.
Don't move.
All right, y'all look at me. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, boss.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Great job.
We're down to public comments. Per Arkansas Code 6-13-619, and according to Act 902 of 2025, citizens who desire to speak during public comments must sign in prior and will be called to the podium. Speakers must meet one of the following criteria according to the Act 902 and listed on the sign-in sheet. If somebody could close that back door, please.
I think they're still trying to get out.
According to Act 902 and listed on the sign-in sheet, reside within the school district, parent or legal guardian of a student in the district, employed by the district. Public comment is not a question and answer period, and as such, school board members and the superintendent do not respond to the public comments during a meeting, while we do encourage you to speak respectfully and professionally. Further, citizens will have no more than 3 minutes to speak and will not be allowed to make comments that shall prejudice the board concerning student or personnel matters that could come before the board for disciplinary or employment considerations. or that is in conflict with other district policies or laws. Further, public comments that include slanderous remarks about school district employees or that would violate the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, and are strictly prohibited. Personally identifiable information, discussion of student educational records, or reference to student directory information is not permitted during the public comment period. Speakers who violate these guidelines will receive a single warning and be respectfully asked to redirect their remarks. Should the speaker continue in violation, the board president will end the speaker's time and move on to the next individual. If the public comment goes beyond 30 minutes, the board may require all public comments that go beyond the 30 minutes and are not about matters that are on the meeting's action items agenda to be held after the other agenda items. All right, so we have 5. The first one, it just says there's 2 Terrys on here, but one said Terry with no last name. Okay. Terry, no last name. When you come up, you can identify yourself. Good afternoon.
Board members, Dr. Lipsky, I am Terry Gates. I am from Boone Park. And again, I'm here to talk about do not throw us under the bus. We're here. We're doing a good job. We all are. I got families back here. They all came. The Zoom. Didn't know nothing about it. That's not what we asked for. We want person-to-person meeting, face-to-face. No Zoom. If they can't contact us that way, how are they going to contact us in a school, work with us, if they can't see us face-to-face now? That's what we asked for, face-to-face. Quit throwing us under the bus. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Terry Hansen? No, there was 2 Terrys.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Terry Hansen. I am the lead custodian at Ridge Road Elementary. I've been there multiple years, and I just wanted to tell you, honestly, I don't think many of you know what a custodian does on a daily basis, because you think you've seen a piece of paper with my job description on it that you know what I do. It's absolutely not what I do. Just today, I was a counselor in the hallway with a student. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. I have been a nurse. I've put Band-Aids on many a scraped knee. I've been a security guard. When there was nobody else to watch the front door, guess who did it? This guy. Multiple things. Not just the cleaning part of it. I have done that plenty of times. I have cleaned up some things that would make a grown person gag. And I'm not the only one that does it. There's a whole group of us here tonight that do the exact same thing. Hold a hand, walk a child to ISS that needs some talking to. We do a lot more than what is on that piece of paper that has a job description on it. And we deserve, like Terry said, some respect. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is John Lemon.
Hi guys. This is John Lemon, here again for the Gay Book Band and also the custodians. Gay Book Band, this is a little more straightforward. I'm learning. The Arkansas School Board Association has an updated 2025 policy for how to remove materials. I would like that to be reviewed by the next board session. I'll be here to help you guys with that one. I think that's really straightforward because it's not made for any political agenda, it just reflects the latest laws. So that'll do the first thing I've been asking for. Number two, I want the 50 plus gay books to go back through the process. I understand that my viewpoints may not be honored. I'm okay with that. What I wanted to see is a proper paper trail. What I want to see is proper procedure being followed. I don't want to see individuals making value-based choices. If we are going to make value-based choices, not just removing materials that are dangerous for kids, sure, remove those. But if there's a gay book and we say that doesn't reflect our community, that's where it should go to the school board. I want the administrative staff to make the legal decisions by the proper policy that I want you to adopt. That's all I'm asking for. So I'll be back next time. I'll send you guys an email. That's all I'm looking for. And I think it's easy decision to make. For the custodians, I don't have all the data. I know you're hurting for money bad. I know times are rough with the new laws. Funding is drying up. The things that I want to see as a parent, as a member of the PTA going into the school, and I have the custodians there, we do staff appreciation. What I want to see is that we are reviewing all the alternatives, not just taking the first company that reached out to us. I want to see that we actually balanced and got the best deal that we can out of it, and not just saving the most money. I don't know what the solutions are, but I want to know that we are treating them like human beings, because they are. When you outsource labor like this, what happens is that all the invisible work that gets done gets shifted onto others. So if we're doing this for teachers, teachers are going to have to do more because of it. I know me on the PTA, I'm going to have to do more because of it. We're not going to get the support, the invisible support that we already have. And that's what happens when you outsource it and you're driving down to the lowest dollar. That's all I have to say. It's just, I know it's hard, but we can't forget that humanity that exists within there. So please do what's best for them. Please look at all the alternatives. Don't rush into things. Last thing I'll say, I work in tech, I work in startups. I move fast and I break things, because when I break things, it's in a little application. It's fine. I fix it. Everything's fine. I want to not have that for the school board. I want to see that decisions follow through policy. They reflect the values of the community. You can't move like a startup. Don't do what I do. It's not right here. That's what these policies do. They protect all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Stacy Lemon.
Hi, I'm Stacy Lemon. Speaking on the gay book ban, again, I would like a review process. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, I would like a review process for the gay book ban. One of your books that has fallen through the cracks, I believe, is called Real Sisters Pretend. It is about two little girls who have come together in an adoption, and they are now sisters. It is only to do with adoption. The very last page shows two gay women, and that is it. There's nothing negative about this. There's nothing evil. There's nothing sexual. It is a family, a diverse family who just want to be sisters. I would like a review process. On the custodians, Keith Price, he is our custodian at Lakewood, along with Keeley and Yenny. I was there a few days ago. I walked in the door. He walked in. He didn't even take his coat off, and immediately a teacher needed him because a child had had an accident. He is constantly in motion. He is always helping. He is a great member of our family. We want him and the girls to be able to have health insurance, to have a living wage. They are invested in our students, and that is something you need for your teachers. You want a good support staff for them. That is how you retain them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lawrence Burks. Books. Is it Burks? Thank you. It's Burks.
My name is Lawrence Burks, and I work for West Campus, North Little Rock West. And my concern was about the negotiation process of outsourcing us, and why the custodians wasn't a part of the negotiations. I can't speak for my other custodians, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty reasonable people. We would have. know I would have been willing to negotiate, lose a couple of days off a year, lose a couple of vacation days, a couple of sick days. I'm just wondering why we weren't present or a part of any negotiations at all, period. And that's my saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Burks.
That was our last public comment. Therefore, we're down. There's no legislative update. We're keeping it moving tonight. We're down to CPPC and LPPC monthly report. First up is classified.
I got reinforcement. Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Paluski, and other members of the board. Before I get into our minutes, I would like to say on the behalf of the Classified Personnel Policy Committee, I know that interaction can be controversial and adversarial. As chair of this committee, that is never our intent. Our intent is to work in tandem with the district as far as moving forward in changing policies, but in doing so, we are asking for an equal play at the table, equal recognition at the table. And when I get into my minutes, I will speak more of why I'm saying what I'm saying, but I want this board to know that, I'm new in this position, and so are Ms. Hughes and Ms. Lawson, but we really want to be a positive part of working with the district in enacting whatever changes, be it policies or whatever. And in doing so, we need an equal voice, and we need to be recognized as an equal voice, just as the LPPC or other departments. And so, having said that, I just want you all to know that we're not standing behind the corner, around the corner, trying to sabotage anything. We are wanting to work with the district in moving forward. So, having said that, our minutes. So, okay, I went down too far.
Ms. Hughes, congratulations on your double masters.
Awesome.
Oh, and I will, Ms. Lawson is here because we had to re-elect our secretary, Ms. Jones, Ashanti Jones. She had to step down due to other obligation, wasn't able to fulfill that position. And so Ms. Lawson is the new CPPC secretary. And well, we did try to get her to do chair too. So I just wanted to make that introduction. And let me just get my paper copy out of here.
Well, welcome, Ms. Lawson.
And I will share with the board as well that you will be receiving an email from me with a couple of documents that was shared with me, and I did not want to take this space to share that document. I would rather send it to you, so in your leisure or whenever you have it at your disposal to read and just contemplate on what's being said in that document. So, our minutes from December the 2nd. We approved our meeting minutes from November the 13th and unanimous approval. And then we discussed our role and purpose as the CPPC. And one of the reasons why that came up is the NLRSD policy development document that was presented and approved. There was some language in it that seemed to supersede our purpose as stated by law. And so we just reviewed the Senate Bill 514 in reference to this policy, just to understand and get a clarity on what our position was as the CPPC, and that we can, and it's all there, and I won't, read it all back to you, but it was just to give all of our members clarity on what our purpose is as being members of the CPPC, as far as in reviewing policy, introducing new policies, proposing new policies, and of course, we understand that the board would have to approve whatever policy that we brought to you. And just last year, we brought a retaliation policy that, you all approved. And so I just wanted to put that out there because of that language that was in that policy development document, just to give clarity to everybody on the committee what our role is. Okay. Item number 4 was the workplace professionalism policy that we tabled. And the reason why we tabled is because there was some wording in there that was kind of ambiguous and really bordered on abstract actions and emotions that I didn't feel, or we as a committee didn't feel you could adjudicate in a court of law. If I said, Dr. Paluski, I think you're looking at me, and it's, well, if I took that to a court of law and said, well, Dr. Paluski was looking at me and I felt like it was saying, that wouldn't be able to be held up. Okay. So we're asking that that document be reworked and those words be removed. And we'll take another look at that in January, at our January meeting, and hopefully be able to put that through. We also reviewed the classified salary schedule, and it's the 25-26 salary schedules, because the new ones are not out yet. And the reason why we review those is because every salary schedule is not created equal. And in going through those salary schedules, we noted that one of the key difference in them is some of the salary schedules has an educational percentage that's afforded to them. And if you have an associate degree or a bachelor's degree, there's no criteria for a master's, even though several of our employees have a master's degree classified. And they're awarded a certain percentage based upon whatever your degree, whether you have an associate or master's. And they receive that extra stipend. And for a bachelor, it's 10%. And even down to our maintenance department, if they get their master's plumber or electrician or whatever, they receive additional stipend for that. Well, I'm going to take child nutrition for an example. They go to training every summer. They have to go to manager's training every summer. There is no stipend on their salary schedule for the training that they have to receive every summer. And I just feel like that a review of those salary schedules needs to be made, and just make them all equal. Not that the percentages will be equal, but at least afford every salary schedule that, you know, would pertain to getting a percentage on there, at least afford them the same consideration as, you know, all of our teachers. You know, they get their bachelor's plus 12, 24, and they're able to, you know, increase in step. So, coupled with that, we talked about classified raises. Now, much to our disappointment, we have been told that the classified staff will not get a raise, that the monies that are, or the savings that if this passed with the custodians, the savings that is generated is all going to the licensed staff to increase their salary. And we are not in agreement with that process. I understand that we want our teachers to have a competitive salary. I don't think it should be at the expense of classified staff. No, we don't move the grades, but each of us in our own position, whatever it is, we are as valuable as the teachers that are behind the desk in the classroom. And I don't think we should be measured by what a teacher does compared to me in finance doing payroll, because in our own right, we're just as valuable in our positions. And so I'm asking the board, I think in September was the first board workshop that I attended, and it may have been October. And that first board workshop, I made a promise that I would not miss another board workshop because it was fun. Somebody told me it wasn't fun, Mr. Taylor. And I've only missed one since then. But in that workshop, I did hear the board say that the raises that was being proposed would be for all staff. And I really hope the board will stand by what you said months ago, and whatever savings is netted from whatever changes we make will be shared equally across the board for all staff and not just certified. Okay, and that's my soapbox on that. But I seriously hope you all would look at all the options. Our custodial services outsourcing, we did speak about that, and the documents that I'm going to send to you is on that topic, and so I won't speak much on that, but I will say this, y'all, I have a heart, and excuse the y'all, but you know, we're in Arkansas. I have a heart, and when I initially spoke on the behalf of the custodians and not knowing if any of them would be here, it is because sometimes we don't recognize the value in the least person, even though they're not the least. And it's so easy to just pluck out what we deem to be most dispensable without really looking into their worth. And I've had many nights of not sleeping because this is just rolling over in my head on, you know, how much more can I help, can I say, can I do? And I do understand that I can't carry, you know, the decision of the board on me, because at the end of the day, the board is going to vote in, you know, what they deem to be the best move to make. But I'm saying that to say let's look beyond the dollar signs and see the people behind the changes that we're proposing to make. That's all I'm saying. At the end of the day, yes, we need more money, but you know, I work in finance, and we can look elsewhere. We really can. And I'm not even going to start picking fruit and saying, but we can look elsewhere. We item number 7 was our classified employee of the year that we have tabled into our next regular scheduled meeting, which is of the month. What did I say, of the year?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's of the month, typo. But we've reserved that into our January meeting. The 26-27 calendar. So the comments that I made prior to going into the minutes, we want to work with the district in the decision. Dr. Paluski, at the last meeting on the 4th, you stated that the administration had worked with both PPCs on the development of this calendar. And that was a misstatement. Because I did not see the calendar until it was emailed to me, and none of the non-administrative members had any input whatsoever in the development of the calendar. And the first thing that I noticed when I got the calendar was, why is there 169 student days? And the second thing that I thought was, so does that mean that the classified staff is getting ready to lose 9 days? Because transportation, child nutrition, crossing guard, lunch aides, wraps, they work when students are in session. When students are not in session, they don't work. So when I looked at that calendar, there was no other language there other than that 169 days. The first thing that I thought about is, so is the classified staff getting ready to lose days? And we did not vote on the calendar, but I think with it being taken off the agenda was a good thing, because it does need a second, third, and fourth look before, you know, it's put through. And my comment before I got into the minutes is to say to you, Dr. Paluski, the board, bring us to the table and let us be a part of the development of the school calendar or whatever else. Because on the classified side, we have insight into the moving pieces, just like the license. And we can offer suggestions and advice. But because we were not brought to the table, we got a calendar that was, you know, didn't work for the classified staff. So that's why I preference my comments with that, is to say we did not have any input into the development of the calendar. We want to have input into the development of the calendar or any other thing that, you know, classified staff would be affected by. So just include us in the conversation. You know, I'm 2 doors down from superintendent's office. And that concludes our minutes.
Thank you. Are there any questions to my left for the CPPC?
I have.
I said to my left. Are there any questions to my right from the CPPC?
Okay, Dorothy, you're up. Now to the right.
To the left.
Yeah, that's the left. This left right here.
So nobody down here had any questions.
You're up.
So
Go ahead.
you're
Your
up.
turn. No, now they didn't have any, so now it's the right. So go on. Here, let me bring this to you. There you go.
You're so helpful.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I'm appalled that you tell me as a board member that you were told you all would not get funds because of teachers. I've been in this district for 50 years, and I've never known of giving to one and not giving to the other, whether it was 1%, 2%, or 3%. Again, there is no I'm a board member. They telling you already what you're not going to get, and I know nothing about it. Superintendent runs day-to-day actions, and when there's a recommendation, he presents it to the board. This is something I have not heard, and why would you all come to this board meeting telling me that you were told you would not get any money? You robbing Peter to pay Paul? That is not equity, and it's not right. And it's not right for me, a board member, sitting here and know nothing about it. So again, I thank you. Thank you. No transparency, and I'm a board member. It's disrespectful. So I'm saying to you, continue to come before us being honest, because my feelings are totally hurt. Director, we set policies. Nobody else. We have to abide by those policies. And to be told you won't get it unless the board had a private meeting and I didn't know about it. So I'm saying the board, superintendent, he makes a recommendation to the board, and the board that makes the final decision on what kind of salaries will be released. So that's the way the process should be. And thank you again.
All right, are there any other questions for CPPC?
I'm still to the right. I don't have any questions, but I just want to say I appreciate your dedication, your hard work, and I always look out for Matthew 25. We always have to take care of the least of these, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
LPPC?
And Merry Christmas, because we won't see you next week.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Stumping house.
They'll let us know if not.
Hello, that one more.
That one. There we
Okay,
go.
so we have our November minutes up to you. We've met a lot in December, but we haven't approved any of those minutes, so you're looking at November. It's pretty simple. We worked on just making sure that we knew when the bonuses were coming. Thank you so much. They came very timely. We appreciate that. We finished up the work on the maternity leave policy, and I believe you guys have already passed that. And then there was some discussion only brought up by one of the members of our committee about a dean's stipend. It was discussion only. There was no motion made. It was completely tabled. And so I
About a
just
what stipend?
for deans.
Oh.
And so just wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was just a discussion, that it hasn't gone anywhere. And then just some specific building concerns that had come up in terms of just, there were some differences between, we made middle school subs that were getting extra money, and then other subs in other schools weren't getting them. And so we were trying to learn about why middle school was chosen as a high priority over some of the other schools, especially for those folks that are in ALE and work with medically fragile students. We really try to advocate for our classified staff in our buildings as well, because we know they're doing hard work. So we just try to help guide that discussion, because not all of our buildings have classified staff represented. So they bring stuff to me as well, and so we just try to make sure to find out how to have those discussions. And so right now, the last part was just talking about the academy. There's been several times when their security officer hasn't been there and they didn't have
security to cover them, and the academy is a place when we always need security. And so there, I know Mr. Smith had followed up on that to make sure that we always had a security officer at the academy, and yeah. And then another open gate needed at the high school, and I don't know where we got with that, but I know Chief Finks was made aware of the need. And then I know the AI policy came up, a lot of AI right now in our schools and in our world, and so that is going to be something that's coming forward to us in the next month or so for us to work on a district AI policy. So that's just something that's in the works. We did have some discussion about the calendar. That's not on the official minutes here, but I did want to just bring that up to you guys. And we did have some concerns with the calendar that was brought. Had a great meeting with the exec team the other day, and they heard all our concerns. We're still negotiating what the calendar is going to look like next year. One of the first things that we said in our stance as LPBC is that we don't want CPBC to lose any money for days that we may be not in school. And so Colonel Stanger assured us that we didn't need to drive our calendar based on that, because he would make sure that all of our classified staff did get paid those days, that he would find a way to do some training or some other type of event so that they would not lose hours on those days. So we wanted to make sure we were in partnership with our CPPC and know that we support them and we don't want them to lose money. We made extra effort last year when we were developing the calendar to not go, less days, because we knew it would affect federal funding. So we are definitely open to whatever the calendar needs to look like to make sure that our students are getting plenty of time with their staff in front of their faces. We want to make sure that that's our priority, is with direct contact with teachers, and we want to make sure that we're there long enough for everybody to get the pay that they have earned and are worthy of. So do you want to add anything to that? So we're still working. It's one of those things where, we really wanted to know what a lot of the PD was going to look like, and so they're working on that right now. And so we'll come back to you in January, hopefully with a good calendar that we've all been a part of. And I've been talking with Ms. Jackson more. Hopefully at our next meeting, I'll invite her to come to that. We invited her to come to the last one, so she came, so we can increase that communication between LPPC and CPPC as well.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Any questions to my right for LPPC?
That's right.
Yeah, this right here.
No, I appreciate what you said, working with and making sure that the two PPCs have conversations with each other, so you all have a better idea of working in tandem with each other. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So no questions from me, though.
There's no question, I just need an answer. In your other building concerns, Mr. Smith told you why there was a need to have a higher salary was being at the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was a priority, and we know what the priority is. But then he said you bring facts to your building administrators, and they will take it to their respective assistant superintendent. What were they supposed to do with that, Ms.?
I think we were just trying to gather information about what our subs and our paras make, and compared to what others make around the area, and so to be able to argue that we need a raise in those areas as well, because people can leave us and go to LRSD or someplace just because they may make another $15 to $25 a day as a sub. And so they wanted to bring those kind of facts, like, so that the principals could take those to the assistant superintendents and try to make a case for why they should be paid more.
Oh, because the subs were making more money, and this is why the ALE subs and the ALE paras and the medical fragile paras get paid more. Because what did they feel, that the subs are getting paid more than them?
Well, the middle school subs, there was a raise for the middle school subs, because we were told the district was having a really hard time getting subs at the middle school. And so they wanted to incentivize people to go work at the middle school. And so that's why there was a raise priority for that, just because they didn't have enough people covering those openings.
Okay.
Clarify.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I knew that was coming.
Okay.
Dr. Paluski, Dr. Redis, members of the board. So if this board will recall, the way we passed that on the standard rates of pay was a high priority rate. So that high priority rate is designated for any building within the school district as long as that is brought to the administration. What was discussed in regards to building principals bringing facts and things like that to their appropriate assistant superintendent, that is so that they can be justified and advocated to the superintendent as a high priority school. The middle school specifically was being challenged with sub rates, fill rates, things of that nature. All of that information was brought to the superintendent ultimately to make a decision to increase the rates for the middle school, but it was not just passed for the middle school.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
And thank you for the clarification, Ms. Smith. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a real quick comment, and it's about the calendar. I've thought for a long time, and I don't know if there's a reason that we don't do this, but it seems to me that it'd be really great if, since calendar doesn't change, I know that laws do, we should go ahead and have not just next year's calendar, but the following year's calendar out there on reserve, so we don't have to spend so much time in such a rush to get it. Because I think what happened this time is there was a need for speed, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that can happen through the committees or if it's something that needs to happen from administration, but I think it'd be a great idea to have one ready to be validated
Yeah, that's
in
a
the
good
fall. And we can adjust it for any legislation that may, you know,
Definitely. We've mentioned that in some of our meetings, that we really need to get ahead of the game here. So, yeah, that needs to be a priority.
So if you remember, Mr. Paul, I think when I first arrived, we started down that road with Mr. Smith of trying to do the year ahead of us and then the year out above. I think 1 or 2 years we may have done that. I agree of getting back to that. That helps families plan out their summers, employees, and all that stuff if they can see. If we've got to make a change during, before we adopt it, if we have to make a change, we can certainly do that. That's no problem.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that. And I just want to, for clarity purpose here, this year's calendar, we put the draft calendar together and followed the process to get it to y'all so we could release it to the PPCs. That calendar development is still in progress. It wasn't finite. We knew that one wasn't complete. We saw the errors in ourselves, but we wanted to get it to the CPPs as soon as possible.
And that's where we are.
That's where we are right now.
So we've really followed the process. I don't think typically it's gone to the board then that, but we've not violated anything. We met with the LPPC last Friday, and we're meeting with the CPPC. That's why it's not coming before you, because we need to garner more input, and we're trying to work all together and look at nuances or ideas, and how do we make it work for all of us, but with our notion of what our priority is.
Absolutely.
okay. And then I have one more comment, because obviously things can be miscommunicated very easily, just like this process on the calendar. There seems to be a miscommunication. There seemed to be a miscommunication about the pay being high priority and how that worked. And nobody on the board had said ever that only teachers were going to get a raise. That was nothing that's ever been discussed. What was said was that teachers were a priority because our students are the priority, period. And somebody has to be a priority. And we, as a board, I think we agreed it was the students. So I just want to say there's a lot of miscommunication, and people need to assume the best and ask questions. Thank you.
Any questions from anybody on my left?
I just want to say congrats, both of you. Thank you for working across the board. Thank you for bringing everyone to the table. That also helps boost morale and help build trust, and that's something our district desperately needs to rebuild and to continue building on. So thank you for being the leadership in that. So thank you.
Anyone else?
I just always thank both the CPPC and the LPPC, because I know that y'all put in time and sweat and lay awake at night sometimes trying to figure things out. So thanks to both of the PPCs.
So did I just hear from Dr. Paluski that the calendar will be reviewed by both CPC and
Sure.
they
So
just haven't gotten to
yep,
that
I'll
process
help
yet?
clarify that. So what we've asked in the action item was for the board to send it both to LPPC and CPPC, just like we've done on a lot of things that they have, by law, they have the opportunity to weigh in. That's why it's not coming before the board, because both have brought up some great points. And so before we bring it to you, we're trying to finalize that. Also, the LPPC and CPPC have to vote on it. Often we have two calendars, and two calendars are presented to both parties, the LPPC and CPPC, and we bring that information back to the board so you know what our employees are thinking as it relates to a calendar, and then you all can make a final decision as we go forward. The importance of the calendar is, the urgency around it is, all of our salary schedules, our contracts are built off the calendar. 245, 190, what all that. So that's why as we start to get into the new year, we start to get into trying to get contracts out even earlier. We can't do that without the calendar first being passed.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just need I guess a clarity question. When it comes to the number of days this state requires students are in class, I thought back in the day, I didn't know that it changed, that it was like 182 or something.
You want to talk about
You
the
sure?
minute or the day calendar?
Well, the traditional school calendar is 178 days. But we filed a petition to the state last year that we wanted to go to an alternate calendar, which is based on minutes. So as long as we have, basically what they do is they say it's 178 days at 6 hours a day, which is 360 minutes. So they
Gotcha.
multiply 360 times 178 to get the bare number of minutes you have to have in a school year. So we took that number and said, well, we're going to go more than 360 minutes a day. We go a minimum of 382 minutes. By the way, elementary goes 415. So we're putting in excessive amounts above and banking all this extra time than what the minimum state requires. Does that make sense? So that can look like, it doesn't have to be 178 days, because we're every day, and that's why we used early release in the past, was we were
That makes
gaining an
sense.
extra 100 minutes every week that we would take off in early release. Well, we're no longer doing early release. So now we're just banking and building that 100 minutes into every week that we have. And so that's how we will be able to look at the calendar a little differently this year.
So that makes sense why it's not, that it's 168. Looking at the calendar, it's 168 days,
Right.
but in actuality,
Right.
we're still doing 178
We're
days.
doing the time.
We're just doing it
we
in
just
minutes.
cram more into it one day than
And
we
the
have to.
important thing that she's bringing up of this banking time, if we have inclement weather, we got to
That's what-
close for a
That's
reason.
what I thought this
We
was
can
coming
use
from.
that so we don't have to
Right.
go more days after Memorial
I
Day.
remember, yeah, because Jacob, I remember that's what we were talked about this last year, and this was the bank. More time to equal out the days.
That makes sense to me now.
Right,
Okay.
because if you remember why we eliminated early release the second half, is that if we didn't do that, the only options we had were A, take spring break that nobody wants, add more time to the day that nobody wanted to do, and the third thing is go more days after Memorial Day that nobody else wants to do. So the only thing to do that everybody wanted to do was to bank or eliminate that, so we had the time to meet the minimum requirement.
Got it. I remember. Okay.
Sure.
It's all
Thank
coming back. You know, we get old.
I know,
okay?
there's so much. You guys
It's
get a lot thrown at you.
A lot of information, but I just really quick, if you don't mind, just to piggyback off Ms. Temple, I think that it brings me back to a conversation of us at the transportation department.
Yes. I know where you're going.
About asking questions. And because how misinformation gets out there very fast. And that's why sometimes we have to ask questions, because our interpretation may be a little bit different. And I like to make sure that I'm understanding 100% of what's going on. But we happened to be out at the transportation department one day, and soon as we hit the door, we got inundated with like a rah, 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 you know, just it was horrible. And I just said, what is going on? But it came from misinformation. And it stemmed for one person. I know who she is, and I'm not gonna call her name, but we laughed about it later. but it's still from one person. And I said, girl, you done got the whole department up in arms. And basically they cornered me and Natalie like, I mean, and it wasn't like in a bad way, but it was just kind of like, where are y'all getting this from? And so Dr. P was there. We said, hold up, come here. What is she talking about? And it turned out she had them information all wrong. She had it tangled up. And it was the right words, but they were all misplaced. So I that really popped out in my head about, you know, asking questions and for understanding and clarity, and, you know, making sure that we get the right answer.
Right.
Because the wrong words put the wrong place can make something totally different. And I'm sitting up here trying to think, well, what is she talking about? Like the middle school got it, but it wasn't that. It was high priority schools. And now it's all coming back to me. So ask questions, people.
Thank you for the clarity because, like I said,
The calendar's a complicated
I asked the
process. There's a
question.
lot of laws
It
around
always
it.
is.
There's, yeah.
Every year.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors, a lot of moving factors.
Thank
Excuse me,
you.
Madam Chair. One qu- What if we don't make a change? What if we just keep that time in that we are gaining, and due to the current situation, use that for learning time? Or would that increase our learning time, or the time for the kid where we'll have teachers in front of students?
Well, in this calendar,
And would it cost us, or would it be a bad thing if we don't adjust, is what I'm saying?
so in this calendar, there is no more early release. So, but one of the major priorities that we've placed is ensuring that we have training, proper training, just makes sense, right? Before something gets implemented. And in the past, that's been splintered, and teachers are frustrated when they don't receive the proper training and then they go to implement or something's been rolled out late. So best practice is really 6 months before you actually implement. So what this calendar at the pillar is ensuring that our employees, our teachers are properly trained before they implement.
That's the 9 days?
Well, yeah, that's part
Okay,
of the
gotcha.
discussion. And when I say, and Ms. Stumpenhouse, we had this conversation the other day, you know, when we say professional development, yes, there has to be formalized training. But there also has to be the opportunity for the employee to digest the training, work with their colleagues to properly plan to implement. There's no expectation of having, I know we said 10 days of professional development, but the idea is that we're having proper training, we're giving teachers the opportunity to reflect on what they're learning so they can implement. That's number one. Number two, because we've, in early release, an emphasis on proper training throughout the month as we go through the school year. So I'll give you a very good example. So we talked about walkthrough data. So there was 3 things in first quarter that we learned in walkthrough data. Number one, there needs to be more student engagement, more student talk versus teacher talk. The second thing was around common formative assessments or checking for understanding at the end of the lesson to make sure that Greg got it, or Henry needs more, or Valerie needs some additional support. And then the third thing is the level that we're teaching on a regular basis is at a lower level of recall. And so what we need to be thinking about is, now that we know that, how do we go back in and train our teachers again, and then go back and look at instruction to see if we've seen a change in instructional practice. And that's the notion of professional learning each month. That's kind of the pillar. Now that's what we're working on, is the nuances to that, and giving teachers some time to digest training so they can implement it effectively.
Okay.
There will be more to talk about in the next month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll be back with a whole series.
We'll be back with a lot to say.
Any more questions for LPPC? Thank you for your report.
Ladies, Merry Christmas. Have a great break.
Thank you for taking care of the pregnant people.
We're down to informational items. The first one is District Strategic Plan for Improving Academics. While he's getting set up, I'm just going to tell you, you do not Want to have to go before the state board, that's all I'm saying.
I don't envy either one of you. Thank you for doing that.
It was, when they said you ain't got but a year left, a whole year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that part, but it's a lot we should been doing.
It was a lot of pressure.
Madam President, members of our school board, our distinguished members of our school board, for the record, my name is Greg Paluski, the proud superintendent of the North Little Rock School District. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you to share the same presentation that we shared, Dr. Redis and I and our executive staff, with our state school board last week. With this in mind, the newly released letter grade for our school district as an F rating is totally unacceptable. Period. You got a communications background. Every child in the North Little Rock School District deserves a high-quality teaching, learning in a safe, healthy, and supportive learning environment with a highly effective teacher and a highly effective leader, period. We recognize and hold ourselves accountable for the immediate improvements in our commitment to a proactive and an intentional approach to accelerate student outcomes and reverse any negative trends with urgency. Because we anticipated a need to change direction, we've already implemented significant changes to improve academic outcomes and improve a quality education workforce. In fact, in 2024, we began a proactive approach in planning for the 25-26 school year based upon a variety of data. As such, the district required a new organizational leadership structure to better meet the needs of our students, families, our caregivers, our classroom teachers, and our school leaders. On March 20th, 2025, the majority of the NLRSD school board supported the Central Office Administration School Network Support Reorganization Model. This restructuring began full implementation on July 1st of 2025 and focuses on 3 transformational shifts: the instructional leadership pipeline and coaching cycles, our network-based teacher support structure with a Tier 3 priority, and an integrated student and family wraparound services model with a 24-hour response time. School networks are groups of schools in a geographic location that share resources, supports, expertise to improve teaching and learning, to meet the individual needs of the whole child, to thrive in school with the aim of providing those services through school and community networks with urgency. In this model, the school district is divided into 2 smaller networks, A and B, each led by an assistant superintendent of school improvement and the direct supervision of 7 school principals. The challenge we're tackling is that 100% of our principals and assistant principals require intense, professional, instructional leadership training. As such, the assistant superintendent's primary role is to focus on building the principal's instructional leadership capacity through side-by-side coaching, daily monitoring of classroom instruction, and targeted feedback to teachers. Already this school year, our assistant superintendents have spent over 1,000 hours providing coaching and support to the principals they lead, resulting in a systemic approach to classroom monitoring, coaching cycles, targeted feedback to teachers. Uniquely, the model also framed with creating learning-focused partnerships between school principals and curriculum coordinators working collaboratively to improve teaching and learning. Previously, the coordination and collaboration model between school principals and curriculum coordinators was simply ineffective. It wasn't working. Furthermore, the model moves away from a leveled principal supervision approach to a vertical model of pre-K through 12. As such, the model provides for a tiered system of support, with a priority being placed on Tier 3 schools, those schools with letter grades of a D or an F. Equally important, the model also includes an assistant superintendent of network support services, Dr. Stoll was in that role, coordinating support in the areas of curriculum instruction, data assessment, dyslexia, gifted and talented, career and technology, English language learners, early childhood, special education, student-centered support, virtual learning, school innovation, and wraparound services. Finally, the model also removes any supervision of operational functions by senior leaders, which now fall under the Chief of Staff. Hence, having a two-sided, organizational, streamlined structure to include an instructional side and an operational side. In some prior cases, instructional supervision and operational supervision were intertwined, and leaders are now able to focus their efforts on improving quality instruction and improve teaching and learning. Moreover, the network model also provides for network instructional specialists at each of our campuses, which did not previously happen before. Supervised by the school principal, but work in conjunction with our curriculum instruction staff and focus on improving literacy, math, and science instruction. Network instructional specialists are provided with intense monthly professional learning and coaching in order to work side by side with classroom teachers to improve teaching and learning. The challenge we're tackling is that in North Little Rock School District, we have 163 unlicensed teachers, and of those, 124 are in D and F campuses. Building teacher capacity is paramount to scaling up their instructional, their content, their technology, their analytical, their interpersonal, and their adaptive capacities. With a focus on D&S campuses, our network instructional specialists also work closely with classroom teachers identified as Tier 3, needing the most support in each building. Based on the implementation of this model, we've already seen an increase in the use of high-quality instructional materials with Fidelity, based on nearly 300 walks conducted during the first quarter. Also, the network instructional specialists work in collaboration with state-assigned coaches, furthering more intentional alignment and coordination of services. This model moves away from an outdated and uncoordinated support model made up of different instructional support positions, systems, titles, with limited direction and focus. Finally, the network model also includes direct support for more intense wraparound services to support the needs of the whole child. There are a multitude of adversities our families right here in North Little Rock experience every single day, which include mental health, substance use, addiction, physical illness, domestic and community violence, parental abuse and neglect, poverty, trauma, insecure housing, relationship breakdowns, and unemployment, to name a few. As such, there's so many factors outside of school that have a direct impact of what happens inside of school. The challenge we're tackling is that in 2024 and 2025, 1 in 4 of our students were chronically absent due to the following barriers: housing, which includes moves, evictions, or homelessness; routines, mornings stretched by jobs, siblings, time conflicts; health, illness, mental health; family stress that keeps students out; transportation, limited access to cars or gas makes attendance even harder for some families and caregivers; perceptions, daily attendance is not always seen as essential by some parents or caregivers. Top requests for families this year include transportation, school supplies, clothing, and food. In this model, there are 5 network wraparound service providers and specialists assigned to each network, both A and B, with an emphasis on D&F campuses. Their primary role of this role is to support schools with chronically absent students while also meeting the needs of families to meet non-academic barriers in 24 hours. As a result of their work, already this school year we've seen a decrease in chronic absenteeism. In 24-25, the average rate of absenteeism per school was 8.3 days. Compared to 25 and 26, it was 6.9 days. Our current average attendance as of this week is still at 93%, compared to a year ago was at 91%. By working to improve the key indicators linked to student success, we're addressing issues at the root cause to support students that need us most to support their academic success. In collaboration with our school board, we've created a new vision. You read that at every school board meeting: our mission, our moral purpose, our graduate profile, our core values, and our 5-year strategic plan goals. Our focus in this presentation will be on Goal 1, which is rigorous, relevant, and innovative learning to improve academic outcomes, and Goal 4, high-quality teachers, leaders, and employees to improve a quality education workforce. In April of 2025, Our immediate action was to redesign our strategic plan district performance targets, ensure alignment with a new accountability system, and how letter grades are calculated at each school. As such, we have 20 district performance indicators directly aligned to how each letter grade is determined, whether that's elementary, whether that's middle school, or whether that's high school, based upon the new accountability system. These are examples. We've readjusted these, but I'll just read one, is that by 2030, 88% of our students in grades 3 through 5 will be proficient in ELA, 96 in grades 3 through 5 will meet their growth target, and 100% will meet their growth target as their lower quartile as it relates to their growth. Hence, we build our performance targets directly from the metrics used by the state to determine letter grades. Therefore, as a work in progress, our district goals are aligned to performance targets, which are aligned to school targets, which are aligned to professional growth plans, which are aligned to professional learning community targets, which are aligned to teacher professional goal plans. This is the first time our school system has been this tightly aligned. Another significant action that we've taken is to completely redesign our school improvement plans, our structure, our process, and how schools report on their data each quarter. Although another work in progress, our new school improvement plan process is broken down into 11 sections, as you see here in this example of an elementary school improvement plan. The plan focuses on data-driven diagnosis of quantitative data that is analyzed throughout the year as data becomes available to determine strengths, area of challenge, and chronic performance gaps from summative data, screener, chronic absenteeism, and discipline data, to name a few. The plan also focuses on data-driven diagnosis of qualitative data, which is the weekly and monthly walkthrough data analyzing strengths and areas of challenge. The comprehensive needs assessment is an essential component to identify root causes and then to identify targeted action to improve identified need. Strategically aligned with each school improvement plan with their school performance targets, aligned to district performance targets, which allow for deep alignment for our actions in literacy, math, and in science. Finally, each school improvement plan outlines the accountability process for reporting out on their data using our collaborative observation backed by the responsibility and the accountability of statistics, or known locally to us as CobraStat. All schools which you've experienced report out on their CobraStat data to us quarterly, but school principals in a DNF campus report that out publicly to you as our school board. Finally, any principal of a DNF campus had to sign, along with the assistant superintendent, a North Little Rock School District school improvement statement of assurance. This form is similar to what the superintendent and our school board president, Dr. Redis, and I had to sign to the state school board. As you know, another immediate action that we took in September of this school year was to immediately change our 25 and 26 calendar from early release Wednesdays, a reform initiative aimed to increase weekly time for professional development teacher planning in order to gain back 90 minutes of instructional time on Wednesdays for better and more targeted quality instruction. The purpose of the reform initiative, as you recall, is to implement an approach to further support our school leaders as well as our teachers, where additional time for professional development, teacher planning, and collaboration to increase the correlation between planning and executing high-quality instruction. However, and furthermore, due to the inclement weather that we've experienced the last few years, we eliminated early release for the second semester in order to make up instructional time. As I mentioned, some of the factors as to why we did that earlier. Finally, given the results from the 24 and 25 Atlas assessment, we especially, and concerns around chronic absenteeism, we immediately began to change or recommend a change and signified an immediate change which is warranted and justified. As a result of just this school year, we've already delivered an additional 10 hours of instructional time to students this year, right now, as we end of the second marking period of the first semester. And by the end of the school year, we'll have added 12 additional hours of instruction. I will summarize these. I know that you've seen many of these before, but these in area of Goal 1 are action steps that we've been taking and will continue to make. That's around clear expectations for curriculum planning, delivery of instruction, which is referred to as Tier 1, what every child receives, Clear expectations of assessment. I talked about that earlier as related to our walkthrough data. Monitoring of instruction, a key component to understanding what's working and what's not working. And the implementation of high-quality instructional materials in every single one of our tested areas. We're in the process of exploring options for a new elementary science of reading curriculum that will attack both the top and the bottom of the rope and adopt that process with state. That will have to obviously come before the school board. They're doing that adoption process now. It will be presented to you for your approval. Ongoing professional development. Our key levers for instructional leaders, this comes from the state, but this gives our leaders clearly what they need to look for in each one of those classrooms. That was reported out by our school coordinators a few months ago. Our Atlas achievement level descriptors, our summative assessment blueprints. We just talked about the 26 and 27 district calendar and some revisions to support our teachers with strong implementation strong training before they have to implement. Continue with our minimum of 20 classroom visits. Many of you that went through the beginning of the year with me, we've changed that from 10 and ratcheted that up to 20. Our principal professional growth plans are now tightly aligned to how their schools are being graded. We've revised our response to intervention, what we call our Tier 2 and Tier 3 process, our progress monitoring of all students, and you know that all of our principals in a DNF campus have to report on their data to you in CobraStat through our Q1 and Q2. You've known about I continue to believe that we need to redesign our alternative learning educational setting, but you've known about the Fusion program where we're trying to get students that have dropped out to bring them back. We've eliminated several external support providers that were not demonstrating improved student outcome. And we've partnered with continual external partners such as Arch Ford, our educational partnership, the Bailey Group, Kids First, all of those, many of those have had contracts with the district in which you provide. The second area, which is goal 4, and this goes back to the discussion that we've continued to have, and that is raising teacher salary and attracting the best and the brightest teachers. Continuing our professional development and teacher growth score data and staffing plans as it relates to D&F campuses. Continue to provide professional development with our teachers in understanding more about merit pay and how growth and how teachers can be awarded merit pay based on growth. Those of you that went around at the beginning of the school year, we started a new tradition, that is the best of the best, which is recognizing our teachers across the district that have seen exceptional growth in their classrooms. Continue our teacher recruitment and retention. We have to take a serious look at employee attendance policy, as well as linking that specifically with our DNF campuses. There's a lot of work that has to be done there. Our work with Arch Ford that continues to support our new teachers and our joint initiatives, continuing the support of our language services in our district as we have a growing ELL population and a need for parents and students for language translation. Also, affordable housing and loan forgiveness, other ways to attract high-quality teachers, looking at ways to provide additional compensation for time outside of school and DNF campus, similar structure that we took with NLR6 of getting that stipend with more professional development. Looking at a distributed leadership model and an external partnership of growing our own. Teacher preparation programs, trying to get our contracts out earlier. We would love to get them out in May of this year. And the implementation of the NLRSD Dogtown Foundation. Looking at how we can fund externally with our after-school or summer program so we can revert or switch operational funds to employee raises. Without a doubt, and to overemphasize, our biggest lever to reversing an F is the quality of the teacher in the classroom, period. By far, they have the most direct impact on improving student outcomes, second only to the quality of the principal and the assistant principal as the instructional leader. And I'll leave you just because it was in the press, and we also spoke about it at the state school board, but wanted for those that don't understand a little bit of the history of NLR6. In the fall of 2022, we began planning to restructure 7th Street Elementary School, a historically low-performing school with high leader and teacher turnover, after meeting with ADE accountability staff to look at options. In March of 2023, the entire school board unanimously approved the 7th Street Elementary School reconfiguration and restructuring plan. The plan was robust, included zero-basing all licensed staff, including the entire school leadership team, incentive stipends over 3 years to attract high-quality teachers, target interventions, wraparound supports, support with literacy and math coaching, additional time for professional development, reconfiguring the school from a pre-K 5 to a pre-K 8, and also creating and implementing a theme school, our first theme school, to integrate project-based learning, as we know is a research-based best practice. Implementation began in the 23-24 school year and was a complete disaster. The principal quit the first week of school. The literacy and the math coach quit shortly after. Our central office staff as well assisted to support the school, including a dean of students, to support a large number of student discipline cases that year. In fact, in 23-24, 7th Street Elementary School had 350 discipline cases. Miss Larissa Harrison, the current principal, was appointed in 24, and last year was her first full year as the building leader. In her first year as the instructional leader, she decreased school discipline cases from 350 to 160. At the request of the principal, she said, Dr. P, I no longer need a dean of students. Also in her first year, she improved her campus letter grade total score by nearly 12 points, showing another positive trend. We also made a leadership change at the assistant principal level for this year. Finally, the school's community advisory board helped to select the theme of agricultural and veterinary sciences, supporting early exposure to careers in the areas of making learning relevant and meaningful through high levels of student engagement linked to real-world experiences. To date, NLR6 Academy of Agricultural and Veterinary Sciences has the largest number of external partners in our entire school district, rivaling our high school wall-to-wall career academies. Some key partners include the University of Arkansas Monticello, College of Forestry, Agricultural, and Natural Resources, the Arkansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, Lyons College of Veterinary Medicine, the USDA, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, to name a few. In short, under Ms. Harrison's leadership, the school has come a long way in a short period of time, given this context. However, there's still more work to be done, and we're not done yet. In addition, we were honored a few weeks ago to host Secretary Oliva and Deputy Commissioner Smith to a site visit and have a one-on-one discussion with Ms. Harrison. The changes at NLR6 since Ms. Harrison's induction as the principal shows the district has the ability to make needed changes quickly, which can result in higher levels of student learning. And finally, in conclusion, we remain committed to holding ourselves accountable for these results and look forward to sharing our progress with all of our stakeholders regarding the success of every student that is entrusted to us to be future ready, to enlist, to enroll, or to employ. Thank you.
One of the questions that was asked that still is sticking with me is that it alludes back to what Ms. Williams had said as far as raises that traditionally, any bonuses or raises that we've always given everybody across the board for. We didn't mention that in our talk, and I'm glad we didn't, because a district before us did.
Correct.
And got dinged because the state believes that we should not be giving bonuses nor raises across the board. They believe that we should be giving bonuses and raises based on merit across the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, classified and certified should be getting raises and bonuses, but based on merit only. We dodged a bullet on that one, that we didn't get dinged because somebody mentioned it before, and so we knew not to say that.
When you say dinged, Are you saying that they were like keeping a score sheet or something?
When I say dean, I mean to be professional. They had him for lunch. I mean, chewed him out. They chewed the president
okay, so
out.
Basically, just
Yes.
talked to them about that. Okay,
Yes.
Can I piggyback on that? Because we just went to the conference, and everything at the conference showed that they got the best results with merit pay.
Sure.
Everybody who was making good grades, you know, the A and B schools, that's what they're doing.
We sat through many classes.
Yes, I think now correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Williams. I think the concern was around not giving raises to a certain group, but giving it to another group.
No, I
So I
get
don't
that.
think it was so much as across the board. It's just that, and I agree with you. If it's going to be merit, it should be merit on both sides.
Correct.
Right.
So I think that was the biggest issue with that
Thank you
conversation.
for the clarity, darling.
At least that's how I understood it.
I just wanted to bring
Okay,
that out,
gotcha.
that was one of the things, because we were talking about raises and bonuses, that I was just glad that in the presentation, we didn't tell them that we had just given a bonus across the board just a few weeks before that,
Yeah, I understand.
because that was, they honed in on why, and there was no because we believe, my response would have been, because I believe fairness, the to be equitable, everybody, if we were going to give a bonus, everybody is supposed to get a bonus.
Right.
I just believe that.
Okay.
But they didn't like that.
Right. And like you say, if you're going to give raises, per se, my attitude is you don't give it to the few. We got to learn it. What we're so down is people are talking about us because truth. We are not like that, giving to some and don't give it to the other. We like, it's our image. Ugh. Okay.
The other thing, though, in regards to that, is that now we have a test that they can actually look and see the growth of a student.
100%.
And now that you can see the growth of students, if a teacher has gotten a lot of growth with her students, then other schools in this state are now saying we're recognizing that, and they are getting extra money for that. And also, as we know, the state's giving money when a teacher
Yes.
has great growth with her students.
You know, Ms. McLean, and that is a great point. They just recently released our growth data, and what's reassuring is that we have phenomenal teachers in pockets. We have over 300 teachers in our school district that got expected growth this past year. We had over 100 teachers that got more than expected growth. And when you look at it school by school by school, you see greatness and greatness and greatness. We got to move out of pockets of greatness from one isolated teacher doing that to teams of teachers. And when teams of teachers do that, schools move dramatically. And that's positive. That's very positive.
Well, I think when we went around at the beginning of the year, and we went to each individual school, and they were the teachers that got money from
Yes,
the state
the best
were
of the best.
recognized.
The best of the best. That's
And
right.
I was hearing teachers saying, wait a minute, how can I get that money? They were all interested in that, and I know that the district, that the principals had.
We did. It was actually our first, if you remember, we heard that a lot when we traveled the first week, that some were confused. Even in our State Department training over the summer, they said, we think districts, they're missing some folks. So our first principals meeting in September, we had Andy Sullivan from ADE, gave a complete overview. It's probably a good idea, as I reflect, we should probably come back to the school board and give you an update on, and the public, on what the criteria is for merit pay. It's probably a good idea since that just got released. But we did that because principals want to know. You know, if we're missing somebody, I want to make sure we don't miss somebody. That's exactly right. So I anticipate that that number is going to grow as we go forward.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Paluska, this is a question you'll have to answer. We've been stable for the past 5 years. What is your concept of why do you think that we fell into this FDF? What happened? Stable all this time, what you were doing. Could you actually put some meat on that? What you personally feel the reason that we fell to the F?
Yeah, and I'm going to go all the way back, and some of you, I'm trying to think, Mr. Taylor, you may not have been, I know you weren't here at the time, when we did the curriculum management audit. So if you go back to the curriculum management audit, and if you think about the 3 pillars of that, and that is what's taught, what the written curriculum, the taught curriculum, and the assessed curriculum. And when you look at results like we have, you see a system that's not getting the intended results that we expect. And that means there are things that are wrong with the system that are not working properly as it relates to those 3 functions and how the district supports schools and how schools support teachers. And that has to go all the way back to the classroom. The only person that has the most direct impact on improving instruction is a classroom teacher. The second thing to that's the leader. The leader's the one that influences that happening. I mean, are there multiple factors outside of that? Do we have 164 non-licensed teachers in the district that aren't fully licensed? They're learning their craft as they go through it. Is that a factor? Sure. Is there a factor that we have large numbers of students that aren't coming to school? In fact, I'll give you an example. Just this week, as we dig down into chronic absenteeism, we looked at the bottom quartile of students at Boone Park Elementary School. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, your lowest students. So those are students that are in level 1. If we move them from level 1 to level 2, we get more points for doing that. That's that growth component. In grade 3 right now, the chronic absent students, that rate is about 72%. In 4th grade, it's nearly 80%. And in 4th grade, 3, 4, and 5, it's nearly 73%. There's one student that missed 23 days. That's 8,500 and I think 62 minutes of instructions lost. Even with the best interventions, even with the best teachers. That's no excuse at all. But those are factors that take place outside that influence what happens inside. And so, Ms. Williams, to kind of summarize, there's a magnitude of things. But the system is not working properly to get the result, which is another area of why we restructured, to provide, number 1, better supports for principals, 2, better supports for classroom teachers, and we knew with the needs of our families. You heard me read that whole entire list of what you've even heard from Miss Robinson or Miss Sarah Robertson about the needs of families and what they're trying to do to be able to target that. And so, and I gave this example if you've listened to it, but it's remarkable to me about what our wraparound service providers are doing to eliminate potential outside barriers. I use Boone Park Elementary School again. There was a mother of 4 that had an electric bill and a heating bill that was about a day from getting turned off. It was $800. Miss Valley, as we all know, found out about it. Marshaled resources, got it out to the community. Don't know who the Good Samaritan was in North Little Rock, but in 5 minutes, that's what I love about our community. When they know there's a need in this community, they will step up and then some. In 5 minutes, somebody paid that bill for that parent. I would like to think, more likely than not, that helped that child because they had a safe, warm environment. They more likely than not were going to get to school. Now think about the opposite. If their electric would have been shut off, their heat would have been shut off, we know it's getting colder, it's the wintertime, more likely than not, they would have missed a few days of school. They prevented that from happening, and they did it within 24 hours. And I give those as success stories because that is the system that's now getting put in place to be able to meet not only student need, teacher need, and leader need.
Other questions?
Sure.
You said something in your report about there were 300 walkthroughs, and you said you only did 15, and that was totally unacceptable. You
It was.
said that.
It was.
Then how will
I need
you
to do more.
How will you this year, Dr. P, increase your instructional leadership presence?
Yeah.
Since you said it was unacceptable.
I did. You
What
know,
what you
that's
gonna do?
where the rubber meets the road. We've changed up a few things. Traditionally, we've done instructional rounds, which had been on Wednesdays. Sometimes that's more of a formal structure. Myself, assistant superintendent's curriculum instruction. I don't want to say it's a dog and pony show, but it's kind of a dog and pony show. Mm-hmm. And we need to do more drop-ins. Our assistant superintendents are in schools every single day, and I need to be walking more with them in schools. In our principal meetings, I usually have the first hour, the first 45 minutes to an hour. These gentlemen, I've been teaching. As the top instructional leader, it is my goal. Right. It is my responsibility. Right. And I'm spending a lot of time with them, teaching tricks, talking about how to unpack data, how you can use strategies with your teachers. I want to applaud our assistant superintendents. Another shift that we've taken, I'll tell you what, I welcome all of you to come to a principals meeting because there's no operational talk. It's all business. Everything in about a 6 to 8 hour day has to deal with instruction. They're getting training from the State Department. In fact, I'll invite you on the 6th, January 6th. I don't know where it's going to be. It might be right here. Arch Ford is coming in, and we are going to unpack our growth data.
What time?
6:45. I'm just kidding, joking, Ms. Person West. We'll be at 8:30.
I just thought what you said had a profound impact with your presence, with the crisis that we're in.
Yes, ma'am.
To see that they can see your omnipotent presence, like
yes,
you
ma'am.
said, it's a new role that you're going to have to.
Well, it's just some shifts. There's just some shifts that, there's other things in the past that had to take a priority based upon the board, but yes, bottom line, and those are my exact words. It's not acceptable to me. I think many of you know that I set a high standard for myself. And I expect myself to meet it.
One more question.
Sure.
This is the last one.
Sure.
He gave us to the year 26 summer, the whole year that we would have made who have to show improvement. What does this board need to do, Dr. Paluski? We're not talking about salaries and anything like that. What does this board need to do to support that at the end of the 26th summer, that we would have perhaps met our goal?
Sure.
What you're trying to do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that, Ms. Williams. Unequivocal 100% support. You can imagine with the state that we're in, I think everybody can probably feel it. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some major change that's coming. It's going to be uncomfortable. People's feelings are going to get hurt. It's going to get real uncomfortable. But we have a duty and responsibility to our children, 7,680 as of today. And so there's many changes that we're working on right now that will come forward. The only thing is just an unequivocal, a continued support for improving our school district to meet the bottom line. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Yes,
Any
ma'am.
other questions? Okay, so I want to go back to slide number, let me see what slide this is on. Number 9. As far as the challenge here, I'm looking at 163 unlicensed teachers and 124 are at DNF schools.
Yes, ma'am.
It's no secret, we have a teacher shortage, we have a teacher issue. And I think my personal belief is that we're not pushing that particular field in that direction. However, because it goes back to marketing.
Level? Talking about university level?
Yeah. I mean, it's not really communicated. And
sure.
So with that being said, what does that look like as far as shifting maybe some of the teachers around that are at some of the other schools to help fill in,
Yep, that's
train, mentor, model teach,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, or
Sure.
either help kind of balance that out to try to
Sure.
help that, because we have schools that are ranked a lot higher. And I'm just, I watched it online the other day, and I was like, okay, it could be some shifting and moving around of teachers where you find your stronger teacher to maybe, where I work, it's called you're detailed employed. So detailed to a different school. You're not necessarily gone from that school, but you're detailed to a different school for a while. And to help maybe balance some of those numbers and maybe balance some of that, because if I was a teacher currently, I know my teaching style and my classroom management may be totally different from Miss Williams, because she has a lot more tenure, she has a lot more strategies under her belt, and she has a lot more experience. So with that being said, I think that maybe a shift of those particular teachers would maybe help that situation possibly.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's as we targeted in there, it's one of our action steps. I think now that we've learned more about growth, and number one, let me take a step back. One thing I don't think that we're utilizing enough are hotshot teachers that are seeing significant growth. This has been a conversation with our teacher advisory when I attended summer professional development. I think one thing we've got to do a better job at is getting our hotshot teachers that are seeing significant growth and helping them help other teachers. There's no doubt about that. What you're referring to is looking at the staffing modules, which is what we're going to be getting ready to go into, and looking at those high-flying teachers. Traditionally, and we learned this at 7th Street, now NLR6, because we offered an incentive. And guess what? We got some hotshot teachers that came from other schools to that school. We didn't get enough of them. But remember, they went there because there was a retention bonus got for that. So we have to think differently. I mean, yes, can I move them in assignment? But there's a difference between somebody being forced to move and somebody wanting to move on their own.
This is true. And then that's the conversation.
I think there's where we talk about incentive. And
right.
There's where we talk about that we've got to completely look at what incentive looks like beyond the merit and growth, or if that's incentive to go to a school that is not performing as it should be. What does that look like?
Okay,
and what does
so
that cost?
For example, we had a conversation the other day about the 3 clinics that I support right now at my job.
Sure.
It's not that I necessarily just want to, it's kind of what I have to do right now. I don't get an extra incentive for it, but I know that there's a common goal that has to be taken care of. And so therefore, I'm thinking there should be some personnel that is willing to say, hey, listen, I'm willing to maybe take this year over here and work at this particular campus.
Yeah.
And maybe it.
You just reminded me of No, you gave me the idea of. I think we need to survey folks that. If
yes,
they're
let me ask them, because guess what?
Would they have an interest in?
I don't want to run
what,
from floor 3 to floor 1 daily, multiple times a day. I don't want to skip my lunch breaks. I don't want to miss school visits. However, at this particular moment, that's what I have to do, because I have a job that I have to do, and it's more than just me at the helm. It's other people that depend on me to do what I do to make sure stuff is taken care of. So I think sometimes if you just ask people, you don't always have to like throw dollars at them to say, okay, if I give you $10, will you do this? No, it's not that. That's not what this is. It's a matter of, sir, ma'am, you go get old one day. and you gonna need these little people that's coming up behind you to help to take care of you, and you're gonna have to have that fruit of your labor at some point.
Yeah, and we had started, you made me think of another thing too, that we had started this, but then it kind of stopped. And that's back to grow your own. And I think we not only need to identify those hotshot teachers of not only about moving to other areas, but moving to other areas with that opportunity of rising up through the ranks. So I'm making this up. Let's say you get a hotshot teacher and they're going from a B campus, I'm making that up, to a D campus for a few years, but also that they're first in the pipeline for a network instructional specialist. I'm kind of making that up. I think there's creative things that we need to look at and do to be able to entice them, but it may not be monetary, but it may be part of a career ladder.
I like that because, again, just thinking outside the box, like I know that there's a common goal, and I have to try to work to make sure that happens every day. And I have to give a certain level of output to make sure everything runs smooth. And you've met my mom before, and
yeah,
third time out of retirement, but she is a SPED teacher, which is something that is.
She want to come back and work in North Little Rock?
I want her to go home. Will be 73 her next birthday. I want her to go home. But she's in a classroom, and she's in a high.
Yeah, she's highly effective.
But the thing about it is she has what it takes to turn stuff around. And I think that we have to start going back to grassroots efforts, and because we're broke. We don't have any money. And I mean, we can't always feel like we have to incentivize for you to do something that should be important to you. And I remember in school we had that club, Teachers of Tomorrow. I mean, it kind of helps you kind of cultivate that fire in you that, you know what, when I get older, I may want to do this. I want to explore this career path. That may be something that we need to look at maybe in our schools and just see if that program is still available. But another thing I wanted to mention too is that I think we need to do a better job as a district on how and what we communicate to our people, and making sure that, grant you, we're all grown. You don't have to coddle anyone. However, I think that we may need to make sure that we're giving good, concise information and in a time frame, because whereas I may not digest information like tomorrow, Ms. Williams may. And I need maybe a little bit more time. And so it's not necessarily a thing to where, let me just back up a little bit. It's not necessarily a thing to where you don't have support. And anytime I say maybe a not right now, it's because I feel like I want to maybe get some more understanding of whatever the subject is at hand.
Of course.
But I think that we need to do a better job as far as communicating how and what to our employees. And then therefore, when stuff is presented, it's not kind of like a box of rocks hit in your lap. That's kind of how I feel on that. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
But I really would like to explore that.
Yeah, the teacher thing, sure.
Moving kind of seeing where everybody lies on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions?
May I?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Wait a minute, hold on.
I'm sorry.
I just want to, for clarity's sake, I just want to make sure everybody realizes the administration up here did not pick the teachers. The principals pick the teachers for their schools. So it's not like the cards were stacked for or against somebody. And I think that we need to be really careful when we're pulling teachers that may not want to go out of schools that are functioning well, and now those schools are dropping.
That's what we just said.
And
the
so
survey.
I know. So I'm just saying. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the cards aren't dealt in a way that they're
And I think that's the difference between telling somebody they got to go somewhere, power of assignment, versus volunteering.
Principals come in and they don't get an opportunity to interview the teachers that are in their buildings. That sometimes create a problem. You know what I mean? When you get your own, and that's a good statement there. Oh, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. You mentioned doing monitoring of instruction earlier.
Mhm.
So what evidence do you have to show that we haven't had growth right now with the things that you're doing? You understand what I'm asking?
That we have.
Well, I want to know what's working, what's not working, and do you know that?
Yeah.
Right, just this year.
Right, and I will go back to every presentation that we come to the board with what we're learning from our data. For an example, I gave you an example that they presented to you, but there were 3 things that we've learned from our walkthrough data as an example. That is not enough not enough student engagement, more
I understand
teacher
that.
talk.
I don't mean to interrupt you. How does that impact growth?
So that goes back to the teaching and learning
Do you know how
process.
much growth that you've gotten with what you found out or what you?
Yeah, like I said, if you want to talk about growth,
Right, just growth.
sure. So over 300 teachers in our school district. If you receive 80 points on that scale, and we'll do a whole presentation, Brooke's getting ready to do it. If you receive close to 80% on that, that's expected growth. So we've had over 300 teachers that got the expected growth that they were anticipating. We had over 100 teachers that got more than expected growth in the school. That's based on the results from last year. Okay. So it's usually a lagging.
I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about since you started your new plan, how much growth have we accomplished with the things that you're doing right now?
Right. So we've presented that data to you. So when you look at that data, and like for the example, we just gave you the interim data. And so the interim data is giving you an interim that is assessing standards that are tested the whole year. But what that result says is, I've only been taught this, but I'm tested on this. That's why those numbers looked as low as they did.
I understand.
Now what we're doing as part of that is digging deeper on which standards. This goes back to the testing blueprint. So the testing blueprint now, and I'm a big fan of that, we didn't have that before. What that shows a teacher is that these are the standards that are going to be assessed on the state assessment or summative assessment. That's broken down by 20%, 30%, 10% of the test is going to be on this. It also goes into depth of knowledge. So there are different cognitive levels that kids are assessed on. And so we triangulate that data, like I just said. If teachers are teaching at a low level, like recall, what, when, how, that's why I'm not a big fan of worksheets, because if you look at worksheets, it's all recall, and you're not teaching at the level that you have to, that the kids are going to be assessed on. So I'm a big fan of Richard Stiggins and his research, because every day should be practice to hit the target. Now, Mr. Taylor might hit the bullseye that day, but Greg's off. And so what does the teacher need to do for Greg differently than he does Mr. Taylor? That's what we're learning. Right now, tomorrow or the end of the week, we're now in the window of our interventions. And so what I want to know is that we've given interventions within small group. What I want to know, and that's what they're getting ready to crunch for me, is I want to know right now, as we go on winter break, is the intervention working for Greg? If it is, great. If it's not, then what are we doing about it? And when you see the principal's Q2 presentation that they're going to do before the school board, I will make a change in future school board meetings so they go first and they're not at last. But what you're going to see is their quantitative data and their qualitative data. And what they're going to share with you based on second quarter is just the bottom quartile of students. And you're going to see in those presentations where you're seeing some significant growth. We're seeing that at Boone Park in 4th and 5th grade. In some cases, I think it was 80% in science. That's significant. So each DNF campus is going to come before you. They're going to show you their bottom quartile data. They're going to show you in a chart what's working, what's not working, and then they're going to tell you, here's what I'm going to do differently going in second semester. The other thing they're going to talk about is second semester walkthrough data. So you saw quarter one data. Now what I want to see is if we know it's student engagement, if we know it's formative assessment, and we know it's DOK level, well then dang it, we should see some professional development. We should see more training. And those 20 instructional walkthroughs, you should be back in those classrooms, and we should see a change. That's the information that's going to come before you. We've also met with our assistant superintendents and our curriculum instruction. We're also planning for our second semester what we call our attack plan for second semester by DNF campus. We met this week. We've only made it through half of our schools. We have one elementary school left. And then, so what we're doing there is breaking down content area by English, math, and science. Then we're breaking it down by the lowest quartile. And we're learning from all these different sources of data, right? When you listen to Ms. Langston, she's going into the schools and she can talk about it. You're listening to the assistant superintendent saying, man, these fourth grade teachers at this school, we need more assistance and more help. So we're triangulating all this data, quantitative and qualitative, and figuring out what do we do right now. For an example, I can tell you right now in elementary, vocabulary, 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 and comprehension. So all that's going to come to you in a whole presentation by individual school.
And that'll be from this year only?
Mm-hmm. Second quarter.
So what about, so we don't get anything about the first quarter?
They were going to present that the night that we were here at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And they were still here.
I got you.
That's why you didn't get that. Yeah.
Can you tell me what it was?
That had been provided.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me.
It's in a packet. We have it.
Can you tell me now?
So, yeah. So, Mr. Taylor, the bottom line is, do we have work to do? Yes. We have a lot of work to do. And so, again, we're seeing growth in pockets. And so that's what we're ganging up on right now is...
Okay, excuse me. I know you presented it, but everybody didn't see that.
Well, the principals didn't get a chance to present.
Look at they didn't see that, did they?
It's
No, I'm talking about on Zoom. Did they see all that information?
It's all they had to do is click on it.
It's on there.
Okay.
It's on there.
All right. So the other question I have is, what outside after-school type programs or anything like that we're going to try to use to increase?
Yeah, great point. So a lot of schools are doing after-school programs twice a week. So I think about Boone Park, Glenview, where they have, and I can't remember their mascots. I apologize. And so what they're doing is in 2 days a week, and that's in a conversation we're having with our assistant superintendents. Does that need to be 3 days a week? And so what they're doing again is they're targeting their lower quartile of students, and they're figuring out that even with the classroom instruction that's happening, even with which the board just approved high impact tutoring grant, we got $750,000 to ramp up. Still not enough. We asked for over $1 million, but we got $750,000. So they're starting to pull those students to get that time during the day. So I'm getting my block of literacy instruction. Then I'm getting another dose of high impact tutoring. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm getting another dose, if you will. And so we could look at that as another intervention, and which is another reason why we've asked the Dogtown Foundation, because all of our schools need it, Mr. Taylor, and they're taking it upon themselves. And what they're doing is they're using that growth data, and they're going to their teachers that are getting high growth, and they're saying, Mr. Taylor, you're teaching 5th grade. You're knocking it out of the park. I need you Tuesdays and Thursdays because I need you to teach Greg, and he needs another rejuice of literacy or math, whatever the case is. So that's happening. Can we do it on a larger scale? Absolutely. And that's why we've got to look at how we're using our resources, and that's why using the Dogtown Foundation to be able to support that. Matter of fact, that's their number one thing coming out of the gate, the Dogtown Foundation to raise funds for, are after-school programs and summer school. Their number one thing. So you're going to hear the principals when they come, they're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about their after-school programs. And so what we want to see by that's another intervention, that when we get into third quarter data, as we get closer to assess, are those kids making progress? That's what I want to know. And if they're not, then what do we need to do differently to get that child caught up?
So how are those, so we started the Dogtown, we got a person started to do fundraising earlier this school year?
Yeah, so Coach Rice, he now has a board. Yep, I just met with him. They just filed their 501c3 a week ago. So they are waiting right now to be an official 501c3. When they do that, I am anticipating that I will have him and members of his board come before you and talk about the work that they're doing, what they're going to target, and how they're going to raise funds in those priority areas.
Last question. Like you said, I am new to the board.
Sure.
How often have we ever had this many F schools?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir. Obviously we saw a dip, and predominantly those are in secondary schools. Some have been, as I talked about, some have been chronically failing schools like 7th Street, and then we made a leadership change, a structural change to there. It's also the second year it's the first year of the new accountability system, but it's the second year of a new assessment. So prior to that, we gave an assessment that was really a college readiness assessment, and it wasn't assessing standards that teachers were actually teaching. So now with the State and the Learns Act, and I'm a big fan now that we have an assessment that is actually measuring what teachers are teaching. And so as the state brings tools in, as everybody starts aligning, now when I talk about aligning our district, they're aligning the state. You know, when you look at it, and overall in the state of Arkansas only made less than 1 percentage point increase in literacy across the state. And there's something like nearly 80% of students in the state of Arkansas are not at proficient, which is level 3 and level 4. So as they align the system and tools and all those things, and we start aligning the system, then we should start to see natural progressions of achievement start to happen as you tighten the system up and align things. What I see now are things that are loose that we're trying to tighten. Yes, sir. Thanks, Mr. Taylor.
When
Sure.
you have the reports for them to come in, I've asked 3 times for this. Would you have their teachers' attendance in their Q1, Q2, Q3, please?
Sure, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that should be your request. I believe that's now in your weekly board report, but we'll put it in with their presentation. Yes. And I agree with you, Ms. Williams. As a matter of fact, Mr. Smith and I were just looking at the middle school campus. So I can tell you at both the 6th grade, the 7th, and the 8th grade, they've had over 200 absences this year that deal with either sick leave or professional leave.
I'm asking this, cannot something be done? I'm not talking about paying them for nothing. But after a period of time, after you done missed your days, everybody get 10 days. You got those teachers who going to take it, I don't care what. But seem like it ought to come a point as a board, this is something maybe we need to discuss.
Well, I agree, I agree, Ms. Williams, because that's why we put in there to triangulate between what's the policy say and what's our data saying.
Right.
Because I looked at one teacher as an example, missed 1 or 2 days every week in the month of September.
Which days were they?
15.
Mondays and Fridays.
Some were.
Fridays.
Some were Mondays, some were Fridays. In that example, you look at, a high-quality teacher missing 15 days. And then, which is why we did the pilot program of the $130 to attract the substitute to be able to support that. But there's no substitute, no pun intended, there's no substitute for the high-quality teacher. Because we know what sub-plans look like, all the other stuff. And we appreciate all the subs that we have, but they're not the teacher of record.
Correct.
Right.
And so we're building all that now. We're triangulating data, meaning we're looking at not only student attendance, but we're looking at teacher attendance. And that was my thing. I'm like, do we need to change the policy? Is the policy got to have more teeth in it that will be come to the board because that will be.
Do like the big companies, UPS and MOPAC. When you run out of days,
that's it.
So yeah, it is. We're in that process of triangulating that so that that we're trying to get down to root cause.
And let me just say this real quick. It's not necessarily a question, but more of a statement. Because they keep texting me talking about they can't hear me, so I want everybody to hear me. So this is more just an observation and a plea to parents. That was nice, a little chime afterwards. We need to make sure that we're reading to our children. We need to make sure that we are checking homework, asking how their day was, finding out what all took place at school, going to the conferences. Because, I mean, it's kind of a sad thing when I ask teachers, how many people showed up, how many parents showed up for your conferences? Oh, I just had maybe 2 today, or I had 3 today. That's disheartening. Because I know as a teacher kid, I worked hard to get that room cleaned and everything for parents to come through.
Sure.
And to be able to have a nice place and have stuff set up for conferences. So you have to be invested in your child's education. And I don't understand giving children options to get up and go to school for the day. I don't know what that means. I've never heard of that. Like, it was probably a dictatorship in my house, but be quiet, please. So we have to make sure that as parents and as the community, we're doing what we can to help facilitate and support. These are the things that you need to do. And it's important for you to read. It's important for you to practice your writing. And it's important for you to do your homework. It's important for you to go to school.
For sure.
That's it.
Any other questions?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's part of hopefully the parenting at the house. I ain't want to say that, but, parents got to be parents, and you got to put some parameters in place. That's absolutely right. Go to sleep.
Any other questions?
Okay, so I've got a few things. I've been taking notes. I've been a good little secretary over here. The Cobra Stat presentations for the Tier 3 happened on, it's right in front of me. Where's my date?
It's November, right before Thanksgiving.
It was right before Thanksgiving.
I want to say the 20th would be a
Did you
guess.
see a date on that at all?
I don't have my phone. I can tell you the date.
While you're looking for that, could I?
Go for it.
Okay. There are there were 2 outstanding things that the State Board of Education was saying to North Little Rock School District.
Thanks, Angela.
And one of them was change, that they are expecting change, and that change will bring different results, because we all know TTWWADI. That's the way we've always done it. Doesn't work. So they're expecting change. I would say almost they're charging us with change. And change can be difficult, and you've already mentioned that about you start changing and taking personnel and move them around, and
that's right.
You get people upset, but
yes,
we have a mandate practically, I would say,
yes,
that change is to occur in this district.
Yes.
And I know that you take that seriously.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think we all take that seriously. I personally look forward to the things that you are going to present to us
yes, ma'am,
for change, because I know that you love data, that you look at all kinds of research. You're not going to come with something that's off the wall.
That's
it's
right.
going to be best practices. It's
right.
You have very wise people around you that will be bouncing ideas. So I look forward to what you're going to bring to us.
Yes, ma'am.
The other thing is, the second thing that I saw that was very blatant to me was that the state board really zeroed in on this board. And they wanted to know, are we going to support change?
Yes, ma'am.
Because if the board doesn't support change, then the change won't happen, because the board votes on those kind of things.
That's right.
And I think, I've heard Dr. Redis say this, that, what is it you say, Dr. Redis? We're agreeing.
We have to learn to agree to disagree and keep it moving.
Yes. But we also need to come together and see the direction that we need to move with this change.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully we can all get behind that, unanimously or not. We don't have a whole lot of unanimous, but sometimes we are unanimous. But we're all going to have to consider that. This board is going to have to really think hard as these changes are presented to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we know that that is what is expected of the State Board of Education, and they're the ones that are going to be watching to see what we do. That sounded like to me that they know a lot about how this board has been voting. So those two things were kind of my takeaways from that experience that you and Dr. Redis had, plus your assistants and Miss Harrison.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thought that all of you represented North Little Rock very well. I was very pleased at what y'all did, and I thought that the people on the board, the state board, received the information that you had. I think I heard a couple of times, well, you only had 15 minutes to give us information.
Boy.
So
Yes, ma'am.
15 minutes isn't very long, but I thought that you did an excellent job, and when Jacob and
Dr. Rogers?
Dr. Rogers, I should say Mr. Smith, not Jacob, and Miss Harrison, and our own Dr. Redis, I thought you all did a wonderful job
Thank you.
representing the North Little Rock School District, and I want to thank all of you for that, because I know it was a stressful situation, maybe more so for some than others, but I just wanted y'all to know that I appreciate you representing us and standing tall, because I just felt like that North Little Rock was standing tall.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. McLean.
Thank you. Appreciate that, because I felt like I signed my life away when I had to sign the assurance that we would make a change. Just for clarity, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think we talked about it at the ASBA at one of the conferences. In the past, when we were doing the ACT Aspire, we got school letter grades. This is the first year using the Atlas where there is a district letter grade.
Correct. So remember,
so this is our first time.
Right, under the new accountability system. So if you remember last year, there was simulated grades. And what the State Department was very clear on is do not send those out because they're simulated. They may change. And so when you go into the second year, now remember, they just came up with a new accountability system April and May of 2025. So now we're scrambling to make sure that our plans are aligned to, and that's why you see those performance targets, with the exception of high school, where they have a little bit more in their career readiness, but achievement, growth, and growth lowest quartile, with the exception of high school, which is around success ready, graduation rate, making sure that you get points for the number of kids in AP classes. You get number of points for kids that go to Pulaski Tech and take college courses, those kinds of things.
And lastly, just ditto on what Ms. West says, I love the idea of surveying the teachers.
Yeah.
And my reasoning behind that is because nationally we know people are not going to school for education. And so it's hard to find teachers. And so if we have good teachers, and I don't want to push them out the door. So I would say surveying. I love the idea of surveying and asking.
Yeah, absolutely. See what kind of percentage of our
telling
high find
that you're going to go here.
Typically when you force somebody, it's
Correct.
never a good outcome.
Correct. Love it. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I want to ask one thing. What did that board member mean when you said you didn't have enough meat in your report?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm still I'm dumbfounded by that.
I heard.
Oh.
They had it in the
where he had the slide where there is dang it, the slide where it has accountabilities, the different not that one, the next one. Keep going there, where it says school improvement planning and monitoring. They wanted to see what you're going to do school improvement
So like
monitoring.
maybe an addendum there.
Well,
Bullet point
interestingly,
to the bullet
because
point.
I had a whole section on it right there.
But well, this because I picked up on that too. But the thing about it was, you had 15 minutes, and I mean,
It's a lot to cover in
going
15
back
minutes.
listening to it, I had to rewind a couple of times because it was like, it was a lot better to digest it and hear it here, because on there it was just like going really, really fast.
Right, and I think Mrs. Williams is making light of it. You also heard somebody say it was one of the most comprehensive plans.
Yeah.
So you had board member Wood say, this is like drinking out of a fire hydrant. This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And you had another school board member say there's not enough meat on the bone.
And the other thing, it would have been helpful if they had have given an avenue to have given it to them ahead of time.
Whether it was ours or anybody else's.
And yeah.
Yeah, I picked up on that too. That somebody said that they didn't have it ahead of time, and they wish they had had
Sure.
presentations ahead of time, because it would have been able to make them maybe make some notes or whatever ahead of time to have some better understanding of stuff.
We were
So,
told to, just point of clarity, we were ours were due on Tuesday at 4 of that week.
Okay, last question that I saw in the paper too, it said that you were prioritizing staff. What did he mean by that?
So that goes to this action step that goes to here. And when you talk about, it's in the key actions.
Salaries?
Teacher improvement?
Yeah, I think it was where we talked about provide DNF campus. That was just. There's a line in there where it talks about teacher assignment and leader assignment, and looking at growth, looking at a lot of factors of looking at. I can't remember where it is. It's in there. I can't remember where it's at. There you go. Analyze teacher and leadership assignments to identify priority grade levels, subjects, and schools needing to adjust assignments accordingly. So that's not only looking at teacher assignments, and I've already met with our leaders, and I said, I don't want you to be surprised this is going to be in there. And looking at every leadership assignment in every school.
Something else that Dr. Oliva said that I wasn't aware of is that they are now going into the colleges and universities in the state of Arkansas to their teacher programs. And there was
Good.
one school, I don't remember if he told us what college it was, that, and even if I knew it, I probably wouldn't say it, but they like refused to let them have someone come in to their teacher program and take a look at it, which
Oh, their teacher ed program.
yes.
Their pipeline.
So, and I know a lot of times when we get new teachers, we're like, why aren't they walk in with us and wouldn't have to go through so much training? They'd already have it.
Sure.
So, anyway, they are getting into higher ed now, it sounds like.
Yes, Ms. Malcolm.
So November 20th is when that slide was presented.
That was close.
And then Amboy had 101 discipline incidents. Boone Park had 153 absences of teachers. The high school and COE had a disruption of leadership while the principal was on leave. All this was from the slideshow, the slide deck that they gave us. On November the 6th, the immediate response, the wraparound services, they respond with food for 31% of our district. Transportation is 16%. And it goes back to what you just said about Boone Park and having children not being there in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade.
Yes, ma'am.
Clothing, 28%, and school supplies, 24%. And then we have not been graded since 2017, 2018 due to COVID. Because COVID was 2019, 2020. The world shut down. We all know it. We all went home. We didn't see our
That's where
children
we
again.
got simulated grades. They didn't give us that 1 year. That's when I
Correct.
first arrived, and everybody in the world tanked.
This grade that they gave
Coming
us
out.
not only was a district grade, which was new, but it was the first time that we've been graded in 5 years. So even with our
with the learning loss.
Yes, with the learning loss and with new
And the new assessment.
new assessments, new tests, new this, new that. So I'm a little upset with the state board myself. I think that's very poor of them, but at the same time, this is life. This is where we are.
So we're going to pick our bootstraps up and we're going to march on and continue.
If I may, to your point, this is where we are. I had an opportunity to appeal any letter grade if they had a higher letter grade,
Yeah, I told you to.
and I chose not to.
I know I got outvoted.
Because this is where we are.
Yeah.
So to be truth in lending, I couldn't face you, I couldn't face anybody and say, well, no, they're getting a letter grade from 22 and 23 in a different accountability system, which is why I advocated to, this is where we are.
9 months.
Yeah, so hang on, I'm not done yet. So we've got 1 year timeline. I've been waiting patiently, making all my notes. So we've got a year timeline. Dorothy keeps reminding us the clock is ticking. Time is of the essence. We just spoke numerous ideas from all of us board members. So we talked about the hotshot teachers. My opinion is those hotshot teachers need to teach PD. So Sarah, I'm looking at you. Take notes. I want those hotshot teachers teaching PD. I'm looking at Mr. Howell back there. He's a principal that moved a whole letter grade, 2 letter grades, I believe.
All right now.
So with
he
Mr.
did.
Howell, he's going to be teaching PD. He's going to help teach those principals. I'm making all the executive decisions right now, as you can
Can you answer my emails too while you're at it?
From him, you know.
So as I say this, I want Mr. Howell in that PD teaching
Sure.
principals how to move their schools.
Sure.
So we've got the hotshot teachers because Sarah's going to help advocate. We've got Mr. Howell who's going to help advocate, move the principals, so we can all get on the same board, if you will. And then we've got the fruit basket turnover. We spoke about that. Angela, and survey, yes, we don't want to force anyone because we're trying to retain our teachers. We don't want to force
That's
them
right.
out the door.
That's right.
So we got to keep that in mind.
Sure.
So with that being said, we also earlier, and we've tasked Colonel with this, a raise for our teachers. I know that's a hot topic right now, but if we don't raise the salary, we
That's right.
can't bring those new teachers or keep our amazing
That's right.
teachers as
Retention
of right now.
and recruitment.
So we're talking about all these fruits in the basket right now. And then we've got the merit raises because not only did the school board, the state board, talk about the merit raises. In the conference that we just attended, they hammered that.
Yeah.
They
Sure.
were almost rude about it. They were pretty much telling us
And this
we
was
were
coming
doing
from
it wrong.
8 districts.
And that we needed to do merit raises. And then they even took it a little step further and said merit raises also has attendance built into that for our teachers. So, I mean, I'm telling you, they came after us pretty hard.
That's where we are.
So, and then
That's a
here's
pretty
what,
good idea, tying the
well,
attendance
that's what
in.
they said. I mean, I'm just repeating what I learned from
And
that
these were
weekend.
A and B
From that
districts.
weekend. Yeah, I'm just
And the other thing
repeating
that we need to do is, I think we need to incentivize principals too. If you move a letter grade, you should be compensated for that.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Everyone gets an apple. So with that being said,
Or a
Dr.
Snickers.
We
Page,
want more than an apple.
well, everyone gets a slice of the apple then? How about that?
Since,
People get whole apples. Some
since,
people get a slice.
since
So-
you're offering jobs out, don't forget them coaches who do not teach. They could be of great assistance too, darling.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. So what people forget is those who coach in the sports, they have to maintain a certain GPA in order to play. That's a triple A, I'm going to call it a rule law. So
Right.
with that policy. So with that being said, it is in the coach's best interest to take those children one by one, hand by hand, and help that child. So it's going to be all of us taking that investment. And Dr. P, I'm going to be mean to you. It starts with you. So you're going to have to get in those classrooms. You're going to have to get in those schools. You're going to have to be the leadership
Yep.
that we have hired you to be.
Sure.
You are going to have to set that example.
Sure.
So not only we, the board members, are in the schools,
Sure.
some of us more than others, but
Sure.
with that being said, you're going to have to step up also. I'm going to need you out of that in your classroom. I'm going to need you out of your room.
I quit working on Sundays.
Yes.
Saturdays.
Yes. Yes. So on Saturday and Sundays, you can work in your office. Monday through Friday, I need you in the schools.
Golly.
Thank you.
You hear me?
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
That's what
But-
I have to
Okay,
say.
Natalie. Okay.
I just,
Okay.
what I want to say, because the morale is so low,
Yeah.
they feel bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what you can do, Dr. P, but you can think of something because, you know, when they look at the district and they look at the schools, it's like something must be done because they don't need the negativity,
Sure.
because they're doing the very best.
Sure.
some kind of way. And I learned too 3 months ago when I was looking at one of the videos, some of the things. You have got to learn to celebrate those who are successful. Celebrate those schools that are doing good. Mr. Howell back there, 497 students and maintaining something. We need to show that although the other schools got up, that they can say, hey, motivate. We got to motivate. We know that they're working. We know they're in
They
the
are.
trenches.
And they
It's
feel the
not
pressure.
100%. But we got to show, Mr. Howell, we didn't celebrate Crestwood, Indian Hill. We didn't even celebrate them.
Yes,
They
we did.
deserve to be, they celebrated themselves. When we're talking about the board, the community, we did it one year when Mr. Boss made that beef for the first time. Yeah. That's what the Arkansas School Board Association tell us. In order to keep morale up, we're going to have to celebrate what we got.
Agree, Ms. Williams.
That's it.
Agree.
All right.
Maybe all of us need to be cheerleaders. Get up. Maybe we can get in the uniforms, you think?
Keep it rolling.
Okay. I don't want to be here all night, but I do have to say, since we're on the subject, and you pointed out, he's the leader. The truth is, we are the leader of him, and this board has not functioned as we once did. It wasn't that long ago that we had an award.
Yeah.
And you know how we got that award? We got that award because we had rules that we agreed as a board. We sat down together and we agreed that we would function this way. And we had some board members who decided they didn't have to function that way. And we have gotten very dysfunctional again. And it's showing throughout the district. And so I don't think you can sit there and, you know, we've been given disrespect out the way that.
You said a key word, so when we used to get together, but we don't get together. We just have one-on-one. We have requested a get-together in September of this year. All boards that I serve on, which are 5, we all sit down and reason together. There has been no reasoning together. Thank you.
There has to be a willingness. But at any rate, we have responsibility here. We should go back to the game plan that we agreed on. That hasn't changed. And so while, you know, we're yelling about treat people with respect, well, some of the stuff coming off this board is not very respectful ourselves. So we just need to hold ourselves accountable.
We sure do need them.
And just
vote for the right.
real quickly,
And
for
everything
classified,
we're not going to agree on.
I know we're talking about teacher, coming from the classified part because I've worked as a classified person. The merit was for classified as well. It wasn't just for teachers. It was for classified as well. So I promise you, we're keeping that in mind. Thank you very much. We're ready to move on.
That's them comments getting rampant.
Well,
we are down.
1 second, please. So you said do a survey about asking the teachers if they want to do. When was the last time we did a district-wide survey?
Last year.
How many
We did
people?
several.
We did one this year.
We did one this year?
Mm-hmm.
What were the results?
It's in my goals. I haven't got to it yet.
Okay.
So,
do you know how many people participated?
Yeah, 16%.
60?
16%.
They don't fill it out.
About 270 some out of 1,300 employees. I do have that. You'll see that. That'll be in my goals document. You can review it. Just haven't got to that yet, Mr. Taylor. But yes, we would like. It's my understanding we've never done a district-wide survey before. We've done individual schools, but we've not done a district-wide one. And so Ms. Robertson is.
We've done departments too.
Yeah, we may have done departments, but my understanding, not from the superintendent level, they've done a district-wide one. So we have it. We've got Ms. Roberts. Ms. Robertson was the one that kind of unpacked it. Remember, she did her survey to parents and what they needed, so she helped us with that. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but that will be. It's in my goals, but it'll be in the new year. Happy to share that.
If we could, and if you would think about doing a district-wide one, I just think that'd be a good idea to understand.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
what are the feelings, what are the emotions, what are the
Sure. So we gave that, the window was a month open. It started in September of 2025 and went till October of 2025. It was open for 4 weeks.
What's a good idea, or what's a good percentage for a good survey?
Yeah.
On that?
So
What do you think?
if you look at my goals, if you look at the, it's actually in the, I believe it's in number 2 of the goals, which is safe, healthy, and supportive learning environment. We set a target of 98%.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that would be a really good sampling, but 16% is not,
Right.
I wouldn't say as a qualitative researcher, that would be a great sampling,
Yeah.
but it does provide a window into some themes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Can we move forward? Construction updates.
Get your water. Get your water.
You're leaving my pen.
Did you get your phone? Okay. Get all your stuff off the table.
Madam Chair.
Can you
I'm
give
gonna-
us a high-level overview?
Yes, ma'am, but I need about 2 minutes of grace before we discuss that.
Grace granted.
Thank you. So we have, this evening has been talked about priorities and perceptions and that kind of stuff. And Ms. Jackson was kind enough to come back up here with me to talk about a perception of classified is not going to get a raise. Okay. So the last time we were in CPPC, this was discussed, and what was talked about is priority number 1 were teachers.
Pull your mic
Priority number 2 was everything else. Okay. Part of that everything else, obviously, is on the classified side. I wholeheartedly would love to see that because the majority of the classified people in this district somehow, some way, wind up working for me. So I also want to say, though, our communication is getting better. We discussed a push-pull system, but there's, which y'all don't know, and a lot of people don't know, and I'm not here to talk about that, but Ms. Jackson and I, we just don't have a Colonel Stanger and Ms. Jackson conversations. We have Scott and Gwen conversations.
We've had about 4 of those.
And sometimes we talk about personal stuff because other than being a coworker, at least on my part, I consider her a friend. And you're going to talk shop. And every once in a while, a scenario pops up, or she'll hit me with a what if, and I got to tap dance because I want to tell Gwen and be transparent. However, we know that what the priority is because what I was tasked with by the boss to find for teachers. And priority number 2 after that was obviously everybody else, which is classified. So for clarity's sake, and she was gracious enough to, that's what we talked. It was not, no, classified, you are not getting a raise. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Construction.
Construction.
Miss Jackson, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
All right. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, because
got a minute,
she's
Colonel.
going to Branson. I know she wants to get out of here, so thank you. I owe her lunch. Okay, construction's really quick. Construction timeline is still holding. The undercut will start during the Christmas break. That's way trucks can come in and out and not have to worry about actual school time. That should be done by the beginning of January. And then the bids right now are planned to go out on the 5th of January for all the vertical construction. The only thing that may hold that up is now that the final drawings are complete with the middle school, they are sitting at 80E for approval. They've gone through the regulatory approval with the city and all that other kind of stuff. That comes back on time. We'll do it on the 5th, and then the bids will be released. And at that point, we should start seeing stuff being built upwards by the end of January.
The only thing I want to add to that is, I don't know if it's tomorrow or early next week, but you remember that we were going to have a community construction advisory committee for each project. We were a little bit behind on that, but that's going to be released. Colonel's going to, he'll chair that on my behalf. And so that's just to make sure that we get our community members. So if you have any other individuals you'd like to see on any of those committees, many of you already submitted names, but I just want to let you know that's going to be going out here shortly. Anything else on construction?
Are there any questions?
I don't remember doing that, but I send it to you, the name of the person, or
That's
you,
fine.
either one, both?
Just give it to
Okay,
me before
I
you
get it to
leave,
either one.
and I'll get it to Dustin.
I did have a question real quick. As far as ADE, as far as getting the plans to them and them approving, do you know like a timeline since the city and all that stuff has been a go?
They're usually pretty
Pretty
fast.
quick?
Yeah,
That's
they're
what I
usually
thought.
pretty, we're hopeful that we'll get them back next week, and then when schools, and we don't have to, have to worry about bus transportation, and they will just start hauling dirt in and getting that stuff done, so we can start the vertical construction.
Okay, got you.
Any other questions for Colonel? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colonel.
Madam
We are
President,
down to action item 12.1.
I so move that we accept the meeting minutes of November 20th and December 4th.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that we accept 12.1 previous meetings and special meetings. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. I learned something new at ASBA on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Any questions?
No.
No.
It is approved. We're down to executive closed session. Oh yeah, I learned something new. We trying to make these meetings move a little faster. All right. Executive closed session per North Florida School District. This part I still have to do. Executive closed session per North Florida School District Policy 1.14A, stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment. If requested by the parent or legal guardian, no resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public and session and presents the item for vote of membership. Finally, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 106, 2C1 states, the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. Please join me in executive closed session for discussing the following matters: employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee. We are back in session. We're down to our last action item, 15.1, employment of personnel.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve personnel as discussed in executive session.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we accept the employment of personnel that's discussed in executive session. Being that it is personnel, there can be no discussion, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Down to acknowledgements. Do my little list here. North Florida Middle School, we went for our superintendent board luncheon. We had some wonderful scholars. Shout outs to Kaylee, Kennedy, Madeline, Thatcher, Tyra, Donald, Tamaya, Terrell, Kylie, London, Caleb, Brandon, Aaliyah, Pepper, and Alex. Also, a great middle school holiday band concert. It was great. As we all know, we went to the ASBA conference. I learned a lot. Thank you to First Security in Beardsley for the dinner, and Navajos was there as a sponsor as well. Yesterday, Miss McLean and I had the privilege of being with the 7th and 8th graders as they did their incentive day. Lord, this is different.
They had fun.
They had fun, though. They had fun. They had fun. Good luck. Lastly, shout out to Boone Park. I hope they enjoyed their gifts that I passed out to them today. And lastly, kudos to the health fair. I wasn't able to attend, but I saw all of the photo booth pictures. It looked like it was a great time had.
Merry Christmas to all of our staff. Happy holidays. I hope everyone gets a rest and enjoys their next few days.
Merry Christmas to all.
And to all, a good night. However, let me just say this real quick. Congratulations to myself and Miss Natalie Wonkum. We got the Pinnacle Award for the Arkansas State School Board Association.
And it's a pretty.
Mr. Taylor, do you want to say something?
200 or plus hours of training.
Congratulations.
Did you want to say something, Mr. Taylor?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Is there a motion?
I just want to say have a great
sorry.
winter break to everybody as well, and we'll thank all of our parents, employees. Please, everyone, be safe.
And enjoy working while we're all on holiday, Dr. P.
I'll be working next week.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't know.